Right, somebody said, stop calling and take me off your list. Not my property. Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thanks.
There we go, fine.
So when people tell me, take me off your list, I say, which one? My Christmas list? I'm kind of sassy. And I'll keep calling you, dude. Don't worry. The one that said, government being more clean, I'll go great. I'm going to remove that person. Oh, what number was it? 6490. Okay. All right, there we go. And now we're back.
Por favor, deje su mensaje para.
No idea what that is. Oh, voicemail.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system 805. Yes. Hello.
Oh, yeah. Hi, sorry about that. This is Bob. I was hoping I was reaching over 2627 Broadway.
It's a guess.
Yeah, this is not the owner for that property.
Oh, my apologies. I've got a bad number. Would you like to be the owner for that property, or would you rather just hang up on me? I see. You're going with the hang up option. An excellent option for you. Love you. Mean it. Hello. Good
Call
morning.
in the voicemail box that is not.
Music services. For your free trial.
I'm calling this homeowners, Silver Lake area. We're in that sweet spot of ownership past 5 years, trying to get forward. What's to sell?
Okay, so homeowners that 5 to how many years? 5 to infinity?
I believe so.
Okay, cool. So 5 to infinity. So what is your script going to be?
That's all we're running by.
Okay,
So I called and I
you say ring ring.
ring.
Hello.
Hello, good day. This is Matt. Hoping to get in contact with the owner of 1846 McCollum Street. So I want to speak.
Yeah, I'm the owner of that.
Great to hear that. How's your week been? Pretty good?
No. No.
I think I can turn this around. You got a lot of money coming your way. How much would I need to pay you for you to sell that house?
No, I don't like that.
No. Go ahead. I never actually really said that. I asked.
I said, okay. Let's do it. Ring ring.
Hello.
Hi, good morning. This is Bob. Have I reached the owner of 1649 Skylar Road?
Yes, it is.
Great. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm calling because we still have buyers that desperately want a home in that area. I'm just wondering what price would cause you to sell?
Okay.
Just much easier. How much would I have to pay you? What I heard was what is my commission going to be? That's what I heard. That wasn't what you were saying. That's what I heard, and it could be misconstrued that way. What price would cause you to sell? What would cause you to sell? If you were to ever consider selling, when would that be? Those are big, open-ended questions. You were asking that kind of question. It's just, for me, I didn't like the sound of it. Try it though.
Yeah, no,
But I hate, how are you doing? How's your week going? Hey, I'm building camaraderie. You don't know me from Adam. I'm nobody to you. Let's be buddies.
Yeah.
No,
just jump right into business.
go into business. Yeah, you're calling about business, go into business. If they say, yes, I'll meet with you, great, then you can go build a friendship with them. That's my opinion. Now, I want you to call 10 people, make 10 contacts where you say, how's your week going? And see what happens. And use your script and see what happens. And then make 10 contacts using my script and see what happens.
The script I was using this past couple of weeks, but they weren't open-ended questions. It was, I'm just curious, in the past 6 to 12 months, has the thought of selling your house come to mind? Oh, no, I'm happy here.
Yeah.
But it's a yes or a no. So
That's a yes or no question.
I'm trying to work on the open-ended.
What would cause you to sell? What price would cause you to sell? If you were to ever consider selling, when would that be? So you get to the when, what, when, what, how are open-ended questions. Oh, Haley, you didn't have to bring me snacks. I'm doing fine, but thank you.
You want to add to your points.
And why Silver Lake? Matthew,
One more time.
why Silver Lake?
That just happened to be the list I have. I was given to me from, Dan.
Oh, yeah, they had a listing there at one point. That's right, yeah.
They have a buyer that wants to be in that area.
Okay, that's your call. I have a buyer, get the name of the buyer
Okay.
from them.
I have it.
The Smith family is looking to buy a home in your neighborhood.
So I'm just curious.
Hello, good morning. Hello. Oh, no, I'm not going to know. Lo siento. Gracias. Yeah, I'm calling because I'm working with the Smith family. They're looking for a perfect home. Their dream, they're looking for their dream home in Silver Lake, and it could be yours. What price would cause you to sell? If you were to ever consider selling, when would that be? What would cause you to sell? What would they have to pay to get you to move? There's your what would they have to pay. That's a much better call. That I am a woman. Well. Yeah, hi, good morning. My name is Bob. I'm hoping I was reaching over at 2454 Euclid Street. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Bob, thank you for calling. I don't want to waste your time.
I appreciate that. I know you had it on the market and it came out.
Hey, as I said, Bob, I don't want to waste your time. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Very kind of you. Have a great day. Love you, mean it.
But that, that New Year's song, like the one that you sang.
Should old acquaintance be forgotten?
Yeah. So you asked me, you're what is Old Lane?
Old Lang Syne.
Yeah, mean.
Yeah, yeah, we're having a class right now. Ferry, you were invited. Why didn't you come?
I know. Colin said that I can stream Meddy's after. So if you want, I can send you the link if you want to watch it on your computer. Or if you open the newsletter. I know. But it got overridden.
Yep.
It is.
And you should let many know, that's important, that should not be given during the night time frames.
I'm just doing what I'm told.
I would say, are you organizing these?
No. Yeah, it's, the link is in the email blast.
I'm just.
No worries. No worries. So the Auld Lang Syne thing or whatever it is.
Yeah.
My boyfriend's parents were quizzing us and they were like, what's a Scottish song that is for a holiday? And I
Ah,
got it
yeah.
and I was like, somebody at work just really
I owe Bob.
she said, I can't remember what she told me. But it's like something like good vibes kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay, so Jessica, Timmy, I'm done dialing, expired, it's almost 10 o'clock. I've got another Zoom at 10, so I gotta bail out of here. Jessica, any last questions before we go? You bet. Have a great day. Peace out. Go call your database, wish them Happy New Year, and find out what their real estate plans are for this year.
Okay.
And tell those buyers that are waiting for rates to go down to marry the house and date the rate. All right, peace out. Bye. But Matthew, did I tell her in a nice way? No, I'm not gonna be your coach without getting paid.
You have mentors in your office?
Yeah, you have mentors in your office? You have somebody there you can call?
Go talk to them.
This person's been on the call many times and she just asked detailed questions about transactions that are, you know what, that's no. I should not be answering this. This is about lead generation, what you do for that. It's not about dealing with your specific transactional needs. There's somebody better equipped for that.
I didn't know it was 1 years. I was like. Yeah. Yeah, that I didn't see how much. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Cause I started not to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Pam, the girl that's here, she's awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but I like Tanya, she's cool. Yeah, I like her, she's super nice. Seems like she can be.
Have you, like, already, was Carlos at a meeting yesterday to kind of set the structure around?
We were doing, excited the PPA.
No, I haven't.
Like, I get to, PPA is like, I guess they're a job placement kind of.
Oh,
test.
yes, she was telling her, she was mentioning it to me.
Yeah, so I did that, so we were going over that, and like what areas I would.
Okay,
Add and stuff like that. So,
okay.
Oh,
have you met Branden?
No, well, yes, I have, to do a presentation.
Right,
for
yeah, yeah.
so I'll put that correctly.
Yeah, so yeah, we talked about it yesterday to get with all.
Oh,
Yeah, forgot, we were doing all of that, so going over that.
Mr. Pam.
Where like my train car and.
Right.
All that.
No, I am not.
It wasn't really an area, but we did like. Once you did the like time for.
Here we go.
Howdy.
Oh, no, we next to it.
So they're like-
Your Davis. I was just saying, you're gonna leave generation.
Example, like, it's kind of like how it also was on.
Monday to Friday, from 9 to 11, except on weekends. Coach, about how do I keep myself more committed to take that every step to ask the closing question, the closing question, to push a little bit further. And I find I do better when I'm in front of others. Really? Oh, yeah, because I know I'm accountable to anybody that's asking me. If I give up too easy, then I'm a liar. And I can't be a liar. And so that keeps me more accountable. Yeah. For me, that works. Right. And so, years ago, made a commitment in his market center to lead generation and training with his WK. As a way, a method of A, showing how it's done, and B, keeping how it's done. So after he and I had that discussion, I told Simon, hey, I need to be in here.
Right.
It's only for me.
Did you get all that?
You need the outside. You're gonna get your. You're doing more. You can ask me.
I think it takes about 3 minutes to do that. But, yeah, because it's all fine.
They have to be concentrated.
Yeah, so you have to like block out.
Okay, you can use your clicker with this one, okay?
Yeah, with the result, going back. It just tells you like, are you gonna either coach, are you gonna inside sales, are you gonna, whatever it is, you know. You're Christine, yeah. I know there's Christine and Christina. I was like, which one? Simon,
Good morning.
good morning.
Happy Thursday. Where's the rest of the group? Yeah.
We're the only spiders.
It's only been 3 days or 2 days,
You're people away.
right?
Are you teaching?
I wonder what it is, yes. Is it the accountability? Is it just too long? What is it?
I think people will walk in.
Yeah, I think like,
No excuses.
yeah, I think like people
No
are walking in like up
excuses.
to like 5 or 10
Let me
minutes.
ask you this question.
All away from one land.
I know.
No
Let
excuse.
me ask you this question.
Okay, please.
If I was a seller and we had a scheduled appointment at 10 o'clock. And you come rumbling in at 10:15 without reaching out. Would that look good on your part? No way.
No,
Why?
you might as well just go back home.
You're already starting the appointment in a bad direction, in my opinion. You know, remember, you're right now unemployed. You need to be employed by your employer. Your employer is your buyer, your seller, and your investor. You know, they're the ones that employ you to go out and work so that way you get paid for services rendered. Does that make sense? You gotta act and think that way. Otherwise, you're gonna be fired. Okay, no one wants to be fired, right? No one wants a seller not to use you or a buyer not to use you. All right. You know, and it's very crucial. If your appointment is at 10 o'clock and you show up at 10 o'clock, you're actually kind of late. You want to at least be there 15 minutes, 30 minutes ahead of time to mentally, physically, and emotionally prepare for the interview. Okay, this is an interview. And the consumers will know immediately if they're going to choose you as their preferred agent. Within minutes, they'll know, okay, I am going to use you, I'm not going to use you. Now, there's a lot to it as well, right? It's not just because you're on time or you're a few minutes late. It's a lot of other caveats to it, right? Your presentation,
your approach, your demeanor, your eye contact, your body language. How skillful, how confident, are you very articulate in your conversations? Does it all make sense? Then that's one portion of it. The next portion is, can you handle the objections that the seller or the buyer may have? Do you know and have a comeback for a question that the buyer or the seller or investor got, right? So this is why it's very important to take advantage of these classes, even though it's a long day. And I have to respect your time. But it's very valuable information because it really gives you that ignite, that spark to really have the ability to go out there. Because remember, one thing was when you were in real estate school, then there was the perspective of getting your real estate license, passing the state exam. Now all that is out the door because what you learn in school, what you get in the state exam is totally different than what you're actually going to do with real estate. This is where it counts. This is where you're going to make the money. All of you, in my personal opinion, all of you in class are rock stars to me. You're the future of Keller Williams. And you really have to hold yourself to that. Okay, you guys are awesome. I'm going to try to make it as entertaining as I possibly can. I'm going to throw a little jabs because I am a little outside the box. I'm old school, folks. Okay, I started my real estate career 26 years ago. Yes, 26 years ago. And I survived so far. Knock on wood. There's no wood, but thank you. It's been an up and it's been a down. That's why we have the chair. It's been an up and down roller coaster, but it's been an amazing path for me. My path is obviously going to be different than your path, okay? You cannot follow what my path is. You got to follow your own path and your own destiny, okay? At the moment, no. You need to use it? Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just share a little bit of how I started in real estate. I believe that all of us have a reason why we got into real estate, right? And for me, real estate was not my first career. Real estate was not something that I really wanted to venture into, to be quite honest with you. This is not what I wanted to do. But I knew that if you put the time, the energy, you will succeed at a very high level. Sales is sales, and it doesn't matter how you see it. You gotta know how to sell yourself, but more so how to connect at a high level. Okay. So we're gonna go back. I'm going to jump on that DeLorean and we're going to go back to 1995. Most of you probably were not even born.
Sure.
Come on, just ride with me on this, okay? Just ride with me, okay? So back in 95, you know, I was going in a different direction. My true passion that I really wanted to do before real estate was I wanted to be an aviator. Yeah, I wanted to be a pilot. After seeing the movie Top Gun back in 1986, true story, I was inspired to go into the Navy or the Air Force and become an aviator. I wanted to fly jet planes. Okay. I wanted to be able to fly the F-14 Tomcat, the one from the movie that expands its wings. I just was fascinated with the movie. Then there was another movie called Iron Eagle, okay, that talks about the same dialogue, but it was about the F-16 Falcon, which was another plane that I was passionately in love with. So that was my ultimate goal, was to graduate, get into the military, learn how to fly planes, and eventually become a pilot. I didn't want to fly traditional airline plane. I didn't want to work for Delta. I wanted to fly corporate planes, the small Citations, the Learjets, the Falcons, the Gulfstreams, the private jets, and travel the world. I was just so fascinated with the ability to be from point A to point B in literally hours. And that was what I truly wanted to go. But my schooling was not up to par. I was not the perfect kid in school. And unfortunately, my grades reflected that. Okay, I hated school. I had to go because I would get a whipping from mom. I had to go to school, but I barely graduated high school. Mom had to kick me. I had to take night classes just to catch up with grades. Because my way of thinking was I wanted to be a pilot, but I was trying to find a shortcut. And I thought, well, let me go party and hang out with friends and offset my school. Okay, big mistake. I learned immediately that was not the right direction, because as I graduated, I wanted to become a pilot, but I just didn't have the resources. I didn't know. And then thinking, well, when I did apply with the Air Force, I couldn't pass the exam. They wanted me to go into the military, but I wasn't able to qualify to become a pilot at that time. So I got discouraged and thought, well, maybe this was not meant for me. So then I started thinking, well, what else do I love? What else do I have a passion? Well, back in the early 90s, there was a show called Cops. Bad boys, what you gonna do when they coming for you? Cops, right? Well, I was so fascinated with that and decided, well, maybe I can become a police officer. So I started doing a little bit of research and realized, yep, this is what I want to do. This is my path. This is my destiny. This is what I want to do. So I started going to school. Even though I didn't like it, I went back to school, and I had done 2 curriculums. I did real estate management and also administration of justice. Because at the time, back in the 90s, I don't know, most of you probably don't remember, there was a lot of infomercials and how to get rich through real estate. No money down, seller finance, auctions, wraparounds. Okay, you're saying this is all foreign to me. What are you talking about, Simon? But those were the times where there were these gurus that would jump on 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 in the morning and have these 30-minute hour segues that would say, I can help you become rich through real estate. You would see them with these fancy cars, mansions, landing in a helicopter, yachts, and all that fun stuff. And I said, man, that's what I want to do. I was a kid. I was in my teens and 20s. Okay. So I kind of wanted to go in that, but I didn't know what to do. So I would go to these seminars and hope that I would have that magic pill. They're going to tell me how to become a millionaire, right? They're going to give me that magic sauce that's going to say, this is the path to becoming wealthy from real estate. So I would go and spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, sometimes all day, just trying to find that magic sauce. And unfortunately, I couldn't find it. I was discouraged because they said, if you want to learn the secrets of how you become wealthy through real estate, buy our program for $10,000. Okay. Well, I didn't have $10,000. Just bad. And I had a dream, I had the passion, but I didn't have the means to say, here's my credit card, charge my card $10,000. So school was the other alternative, was just go back to school and get a trade, you know, and real estate was something like, well, maybe if I know a little bit of real estate, it'll kind of give me an understanding, because I would go to these trainings and they would talk about contracts, financial ways of how to maneuver and negotiate and terms, right? But it was just very complex for me at the time. It was very confusing. So I decided, well, maybe if I get a real estate license, maybe I'll learn how to create purchase agreements, working agreements and all that stuff. So then I started, and I went the long way for this. I didn't go the traditional way of a real estate company and getting trained. I went to college, and it took me about a year and a half to get like 3 certificates, because it was every semester. And yeah, it was grueling, you know, and I took principles in college, practice in college, and then law was my third elective in college. And boy, oh boy, the instructor was an attorney, it was dry and boring. And I remember he would always do this in class. To this day, I remember he would talk. It was like a habit. It was the weirdest thing. And it's like, gosh, I hope I don't do anything that my students in the future, if I ever get into public speaking, they're going to say, well, Simon, you do this quite often. So anyhow, I eventually got the certifications, obtained my real estate license. So prior to getting my real estate license, I ultimately got into law enforcement. So at 23, I became a police officer with the County of Los Angeles, the Sheriff's Department. At 24, I got my real estate license. At 26, I became a real estate broker. At 26 and a half, I opened up my own real estate company in Santa Fe Springs. And at 26, with no knowledge, no understanding of how to run a company, I ran a company with a vision. It was 3 of us, me and 2 others that believed in my vision. I ultimately was able to create a really robust company that ultimately brought in 26 agents to the company. And this was now a combination. I was working, and most of my deals were with the colleagues that I was working at the department. A lot of them were young, police officers were making good money, but were blowing their money buying high-end vehicles, RVs, toys, old boats, and all that stuff. And so I transitioned and started talking to them about buy real estate. Real estate is like a piggy bank. Real estate is the direction that will give you leverage in the future when you're ready to retire. And it's 2 retirements that you'll get, or pensions that you'll get: the pension from your work, and then the pension from the equity build up of your assets. And it was an easy sell to police officers because they were all young, my age, but I was able to start, you know, building momentum. And then ultimately, the agents that were working saw my vision, and I ended up going into more of the investment aspect of it, and kind of stopped really the sales aspect. Instead, I was into investing, buying, fixing, flipping. And to this day, I do that. To this day, I still buy and sell investments, and I hold real estate as well. So part of what I'm trying to explain to you is that in order for you to live the life that you want, is you got to be good at what you do. And more so, you got to know how to really propel with the opportunities. All of you have it. And you have it because you have that golden ticket, which is the real estate license. Now, how you effectively utilize that is your choice. I can show you how to get to where you need to, but are you willing to put the commitment to it? And sometimes the sacrifice that you need to. the awesome part of real estate is the flexibility that you have. Because the flexibility that you have is that you control that. You narrate, what do they call it? You're the narrative of this. Because the awesome part is it's not like a 9 to 5. Okay. You can come in at any time, you can leave at any time, and you can create an amazing business if you choose to. Okay. So when the market of 2008 crashed, right? Most of you probably remember the 08. You know, I was drenched in so much of financial issues that I did not expect. We heard about this bubble bust, but we didn't take it serious. I thought, yeah, you know what? Property will still continue going up. We'll make it work. Well, unfortunately, that was not the case, and I lost a lot of money. I lost all my agents because none of the agents could survive in real estate, so they needed to go find a regular job. So then from a 1,500 square feet office, I had reduced down to a 200 square foot office, and it was just 2 of us. To this day, my loyal agent is still with me to this day, you know, and she's been with me for many, many years. And ironically, her husband is a now retired sergeant, and he was with the Whittier Police Department. So now they're out there doing the fun stuff, but he went in a different direction that I wanted. But unfortunately for me, I got involved in an incident at work that altered my position in law enforcement, and this is why I transitioned into full-time real estate. And a lot of us either have second careers or you know, are getting this in the trenches of it, and it's an amazing ride. This is just my path. Your path is obviously going to be different, okay? But it's amazing, and you create these amazing memories, not just for yourself, but also for your clients. It's a contact sport at the end of the day. The more people that you connect, the more opportunities. You're going to get a lot of no, 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 and then that yes. And then you're going to be like, what? Someone said yes to me? That's where the opportunities happen, okay? The more people that you connect, the more opportunities you're going to get. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah. Agree.
Okay. All right, so let's dive into today's session. Connect with your market. In your personal opinion, what does that mean to you? Connect with a market. Anyone? Class participation is encouraged.
Sphere influence.
Okay. Sphere influence. Anyone else?
Knowledge of your area.
Being the local expert, right? The local expert. Remember, real estate is a combination of many things. One, learning contracts, learning negotiations, learning objection handlers, but more so learning to embrace and understand the local area that you want to service. That's how you become the expert, is what do you know about the area? Okay. Do you know characteristics? Do you know the businesses? Do you know the schools? Do you know the shopping? What is the population? Is it a sector? High-end properties to low-end properties? Okay, because one street can change the price of value, right? One freeway can divide one price to the other. So today's overview is going to talk to you about, you know, how to connect with the market. What is that you are the local expert? If this was a house and I was the agent hosting this house, and you were the people coming into the open house, I better know what I'm saying, because if you're asking me questions about the area, the schools, and you don't know, it's going to be hard for you to connect with them, and it's going to be very hard for them to want to work with you. Does that make sense? Okay, so connect with your market. That's today. So you had first session, Spark Your Career. I think that was with Fred Howard. And then embrace your job. That was with Carlos, right? And today was supposed to be Leanne, so I had to step in. This is not my cup of tea. Okay, but do I know it? Absolutely. My cup of tea is negotiations. As the broker of this office and also the team leader of the office, you know, I in the trenches of a lot of issues that come in. Complaints, drama, issues with a contract, disputes, arbitrations, lawsuits, you name it. So I have a lot of war stories that I can share with you, the do's and don'ts of what to do. But today is more of how to connect with your local area, okay? So here's how the agenda is gonna go. I'm gonna go diving deep into the material because the material is gonna give you some aha, some nuggets, and an opportunity for you to collaborate with one another. I believe that also the curriculum has you prospecting, picking up the phone, making connections as well. Okay, that is part of the curriculum, part of what you need to learn, and it's something that you need to do on a consistent basis to ultimately see results. Make sense? All right. We will also have I'm gonna say a 5-minute break, okay, every hour. All right, so at 10:55, Simon, it's 10:55. Okay, Simon, it's 12:55. Simon, it's 1:55. Okay, just in case, so that way we can take a 5-minute break. You can make calls, check your emails, go to the restroom, have some snacks, whatever you need to do. Okay, because I know 4 hours is a lot. But I also want you to know that we're here as together in collaborations to work as a team. Make sense? Yes. If it gets too cold or too hot, please let me know. I have the control here. And ask a lot of questions, okay? We're all in it together. There may be something that one of you is in dire desire to say that someone else is probably, I have to do the same thing. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Someone mentioned to me yesterday, and I only recall ever hearing it, that property taxes are higher on the corner lots. Is that true?
No. The only reason property taxes are up is because either the lot size is larger, which is the case. Corner lots are usually larger, so that's going to be an increase in taxes, or the square footage of the home is bigger.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's where you'll see a flux in property tax increase. It's based on lot size and it's based on the square footage of the home. And then what upgrades you've done too, because let's say that the home was 1950, but your next door neighbor ripped down the house and did a new construction. That's going to change property taxes dramatically. Okay. Does that answer your question?
It does.
All right, very cool. All right, so Gary Keller says, here's the truth. If it has been done in other markets, it can be done in your market. Once it has been done, no matter where, it's just a matter of finding out how that can be possible in your world, okay? Gary Keller has a lot of quotes. He's a visionary. And it would be awesome for you to see him here at Family Reunion, which is going to be at our backyard. And for a lot of us, it's a cost issue because it's about $1,400. It's very expensive. Even leadership and also the region was totally surprised, but it's inflation. Look at the cost of eggs right now, the cost of milk, the cost of fuel, the cost of just, providing, right? Inflation. All right, so knowing your market, knowing and connecting with your market is all about research and preparation. How do you prepare for the market? If I was to say, all right, all of you are going to go find an area that you want to be the expert, what is the first thing that you should be doing? Anyone? Okay, checking the MLS.
For closed properties, see what they're, coming at. I would look at upcoming properties, schools. What's in the area,
Okay, but what is the MLS gonna give you?
I mean. Property values.
Okay. Thank you. Yes,
So driving the area, going to places in the area, like if I was to say Torrance, right?
yeah,
I would take the mall, for instance. I would go around the areas of the mall
right,
and I would know, hey, what if I have clients that wanted to move into the mall? I would see what's around and then I would look at the MLS, what's the price of the houses around it, so I would know. If I want to live 5 minutes from the mall or walking distance from the mall, the price is $1 million.
right.
If I'm 10 minutes out, maybe it's $850. So just
Beautiful.
things like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many avenues in how you can approach it. Both of yours are awesome. Yes,
I have a statement and a question.
yes,
So. Chris. Has a nurse looking for a house and she wants to move to Torrance. And so she said, this is the perfect house for me, but we don't know, I'm in LA, I know LA inside out, I don't know.
right,
So, and just yesterday, I was going through, how Zillow said, oh, I'm new home listings. And so I said today, I was driving around and find out why is this house on this street, that's 1,000 square feet, 1.8, and then on the other street, it's $1 million and it's square footage is higher. So it's like he said, drive the neighborhoods, find out the community, look at the homes, look at the schools. Look at the schools yesterday, some of them break, and then, okay. Some by the water, some not by the water, and you have the tree line district, like, what's the tree line district, like, Carly, and she told me. I'm like, oh, that's the tree line district, there's just so many different neighborhoods in Torrance, and so where do you start?
absolutely.
I don't look at the price first, I want to know the community first and the neighborhoods. And then I'll look at a price, once I know which community might want to live in, so where do you start?
Absolutely. Love that. Love that. Anyone else? Let me tell you one thing that you all have. You have the power of leverage. Okay. I wish I had this as a kid because then I would have been a pilot. Then I would have been a doctor. Okay. You have the power of the internet. Okay. You have Google, right? Let's type in. Tell me places to see in Torrance, places to see in Los Angeles, crime rate in Los Angeles or Torrance, restaurants, schools, YouTube. YouTube is my best friend. I can be a plastic surgeon just following YouTube. Seriously.
I call it YouTube University.
What's that?
I said I call it YouTube University.
Yeah.
Dr. Google.
Dr. Google, I love that. Dr. YouTube. Yeah, absolutely. You'll be surprised in the stuff that you can find on social media. Okay, utilize the leverage and the power of social media technology. Imagine if we, especially the older generation, if we had that growing up. Man, oh man, oh man. But in all honesty, some of the stuff is research, right? What is there to do in the city of Torrance? Best restaurants in Torrance. Where's the police? Who is the servicing department? Is it the uncorporate? Because Torrance has the uncorporate part of the city too, which is part of the county. And there's areas that the sheriffs or LAPD or Torrance Police Department service. Right? Schools, rates. What are the rates of the schools? Are they a high rate school or not a high rate school? Right? There's a lot of plenty of hiking areas up in the Palos Verdes, right? And you have the coastal area too, where all the beaches are at. What are the best places that people go out and eat? You can be the local expert without you even knowing much about the city by doing some research. Does that make sense? On top of what you were saying about the multiple listing service. Okay, and I'm going to share with you later one awesome database that you have as a member of the association, which is InfoSparks. Have you heard of InfoSparks? Yeah. A lot of data is there that you can definitely propel yourself as the expert. You will be the expert just based on the information that you get from InfoSparks. All right. You can go based on area, school, zip code, city. You can put multiple cities and look at trajectories and past of what has sold, what is pending, medium price points. All that becomes part of your arsenal of things in your tool chest. Does that make sense? Okay. The three types of real estate market: buyer's market, balanced market, and seller's market. All right, so more than 7 months of inventory. Balanced market is 5 to 7 months of inventory, and then seller's market is less than 5 months of inventory. What market do you think we're in right this minute?
Going into a buyer's market, right?
Yes. Okay. Why do you feel that we're going into or are in a buyer's market?
I believe because of the interest rate and not so many bids are going in on a certain person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Inventory.
Yeah. Very low inventory, right? Go 2 years back. What type of market were we 2 years ago?
$7.
It was a seller's market. And what did that mean to the consumer when it was a seller's market?
And a lot of competition.
Low inventory, right? Low inventory, the supply and demand, right? A lot of people qualified. I was one of the fortunate ones that my interest rate on one of my homes is 2.75. I don't think I'll ever see a 2.75 fixed rate again. Yep. Probably not. I don't know. Maybe sometime after I pass on. I don't know. I could be wrong, right? Because the market is this, right? It's a roller coaster. But imagine if all of your assets were at very low rate, right? Now we're at what, 5.25%, 6%, depending on your FICO scores, right? In essence, it doesn't matter if it's a buyer, it doesn't matter if it's a balance, it doesn't matter even if it's a seller's market. You want to know why?
Person has the capacity to buy,
Okay,
and if there's a need to sell.
okay, you're going in the right direction. Yes, sir.
You say people are gonna do what they want to, when they want to, so if they want to buy, and they're really want to buy, they're gonna buy no matter what the interest rates are or whatever. Sellers are the same way.
Absolutely.
If they need to sell,
Right.
they're gonna sell, it doesn't matter what market it is.
Absolutely.
They're gonna sell because they have to sell.
Yep. You also had a question?
Well, I was gonna say, I stumbled on a news feed, a real estate article, and I just caught the caption of it. It said something to the effect that the market now is tricky and now it's not a good time to buy or something like that. It's like, I feel like this is an article, but I need to get a chance to pull it up.
All of your questions or answers were valid, okay? People will still need to buy and sell real estate. It doesn't matter if it's buy, seller's market, or a balance. People get divorces, unfortunately. People unfortunately pass away. People get promotions. People win lotto. People have cash. That doesn't matter what the interest rate is, folks. Imagine if all of your clientele, right, were all cash buyers. And there's a lot of investors. I'm an investor. You bring me a deal, I will personally work with you. Okay, did you just hear what I said? Bring me a deal and you can represent me. Okay?
I got my first listing. No, no, I'm kidding. Oh. You.
Well, on the flip side, if you really think about it, if you find me a good deal that makes sense to me, right? As an example, you represent me as my agent. And in return, you're gonna not just get the front end of the commission, but you may also get the listing on the back end. Because you were the one that created this opportunity for me. It's a win-win, folks. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, but that also goes with you as well. All of you should be thinking that way as investors. Okay? Maybe not at the moment, but eventually, as you get your feet wet, you get momentum and traction in your business. And you start generating commission, right? Then those opportunities come. You gotta think big. Because the opportunities are there. And if you cannot do it, then you partner up with people. You know how many times I partner up with agents and make deals happen? I have. Maybe I'm over leveraged, but it's a great opportunity. By all means, let's partner up. Let's split the fees, let's split the costs and go in. Or maybe syndication. Have you ever heard of syndication? Multiple people pouring in their means of finance to be able to buy a piece of real estate. Okay, yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna say that kind of strikes me, knowing that you are an investor, then it's all the more important to know your market, combined with what your clients are after. So it's,
Yeah. Well, you gotta remember, it's one or the other. You can buy pretty homes, right? Move-in condition homes, or you can buy homes that are in bad condition, right? Super bad, not livable. Home is ready to collapse. You know, there's many variables, right? I like the ones that are bad. Because those are the ones that you can really get a good deal from. Because the end goal is to what to do with the property, right? Get in there, make them pretty, turn around, sell them for more. Okay? And I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but if you want to have a conversation, you know, please reach out. You know, we have several investors that are agents, but they also invest in real estate. That's the awesome part of the leverage, because you're out in the field looking at opportunities. You know when a good property is good and a good property is not good. This is why it's important to know your data, your market, the MLS, right? Okay. So going back to buyer's market. So a buyer's market is when there's too much inventory. You think buyer's market should be the opposite, but it's not. Buyer's market is that there is too much inventory. There's too many houses, but very little buyers out there. And the reason you have very few qualified buyers is because of the interest rates. Usually it's the case. The flip side, when you're a seller's market, it's when it's very low inventory, the total opposite. Not that many homes for sale, so now it's a frenzy, right? That the buyers, shoot, I want to move into this area, but there's 20 offers already. And if you were in the market 2-3 years ago, that's what it was. It was a frenzy. Buyers were releasing all contingency, 100, 200, 300 over asking. On my street alone, I couldn't believe that this house back in 2021 sold for what it sold. I was like in total shock. And they went way above asking. They listed the property like for 1.275 and ultimately sold at 1.5 million. And then the buyer turned around 2 weeks later, put it on the market for 1.675.
Oh my,
Yeah.
so that's.
It is out. So they, yeah, the second seller ended up losing money because they were trying to chase the market, which by that time it started softening a little bit.
I'm like, did they hit that little turn? Because it happened in like a matter of like a couple.
Yeah. But imagine if you were in the industry at this time, right? This was good times. This was good times, seller's market. Because if you had a listing during this time, You know, you were definitely getting multiple offers where the buyers were literally, tell me what you want and we will do. Yeah, literally. Large deposit, releasing all contingencies, closing in 20 or less, you know, going way above. You didn't really need to know the market because you knew that you were going to get multiple offers. That was an awesome time for a lot of agents. Now we're in this era. A balanced market is when there's a balance of buyers and sellers. That's again going back with the interest rate as well. Okay. And when the interest rates are balanced and the market is balanced, then you have enough inventory and you have enough buyers and sellers. So there's consistent sales, right? There's consistent momentum. That's a normal market. These are unnormal. This is normal, unnormal. Does that make sense? Okay. Who's going to remind me when that time comes? Who's going to be responsible? Okay. Thank you. So you keep an eye, okay? Because I can go 100 miles and I'll forget. So just say it's 10:55 Sunday. All right. Inventory and the number of properties for sale within a market. What is the inventory of your market? What is the average number of days homes stay on the market? What is the average price a home in your market sells for based on the inventory? What type of real estate market are you in, right? These are great questions. Because right now, if you jump on the MLS, if you are going to list a property right now, what should you be doing immediately? You need to be jumping on that multiple listing service and looking at data. Because you don't want to be chasing the market. You want to be at or below market value. Because we're not in the babysitting industry, are you? You want to babysit homes? And what I mean by babysit homes, basically stating is that you want to have a listing and never sell. In my opinion, that's babysit. I want to be in the industry of selling and moving on, getting that property off the inventory and moving on to another property that I just listed, another property that I just listed, okay? But you got to know your data because that's crucial, that's important. Because if you're in front of a seller, they're going to rely and lean with you as what is your expertise? What do you know that I don't know as a consumer? Tell me how you're going to sell my home. What is your marketing strategy to give me the most? What do I need to do first? What should I be doing to prepare for this? Okay, these are questions that you may come across. Are you prepared? Are you ready? Do you have the ammunition to really have those deep conversations with the sellers? If not, what do we need to do? Okay. Research. Yes, ma'am.
So what is the average number of days a home should be on the market before you consider adjusting a price adjustment?
Absolutely. That's a very good question. Very good question. So right now, what we've seen in the market is an average of 40 to 45 days on market. That's what the average is. 2 years, 3 years ago, days on market were 5 to 8 days. Literally. Yeah, literally. That was just 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You listed a property, you were in escrow within that same week.
Yeah.
And sometimes you were in escrow within a day or two. Because the seller said, shoot, I just got 100,000 more than what I want. Let's open escrow. And the buyers were committed in closing because there was very low inventory, folks.
Yeah.
That's why they knew the urgency to buy real estate. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Now those tables have changed. Now it's a negotiation on the buyer. Now the buyers are dictating what they want, where it wasn't the case before. Now the upper advantage is the buyer. Well, I see that the property's been on the market for 45 days. It's listed for 1.2. Let's try to throw a jab at $1 million and see if it sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And sellers, unfortunately, they look, it's 45 days. I got to get to where I need to go on my next move. I don't have time to waste. I'm just going to accept it. Or counter, but counter just a little bit more than what the buyers offer. Okay, it all depends on what your needs and wants, both meaning your clients' needs and wants. Okay, and this is a conversation you should be having with the clients. What is the urgency? What takes you to where you need to go? How soon do you need to get there? Okay, are you flexible on terms, price, and conditions? These are questions you need to be asking your consumers. Why? Because you need to know from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being they're motivated, they're flexible, they're willing to do what it takes to sell their home. There's two distinguishes on sellers and two distinguishes on buyers: reality and fantasy. Okay, all of us want to live in fantasy, right? I know I wanted to live in fantasy when I wanted to be a pilot back then and as a kid, right? But the reality is I did not become a pilot. And sometimes the sellers and buyers are living in fantasy world, right? Because you'll come across them if you're digging deep in this area of real estate. And what I mean by that is that you're going to find a buyer, you're going to find a seller that is not realistic. Well, Simon, I have 500,000 that I qualify for, but I want to live in Manhattan Beach. Find me a house that has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, minimum of 2,000 square feet.
1985.
Probably 1970.
One spot in the parking lot.
You see where I'm going with this, right? And there's buyers out there that think that because they have an approval that they're going to dictate what they think they can dictate. Well, no, that's not the case. The market dictates that. And no difference than with a seller. You know that the area is selling for $1 million, but the seller wants $2 million. I've come across many sellers that are unrealistic in their opinion. Well, Zillow is telling me this. What Trulia is telling me. Well, the internet is telling me my home is worth this. Well, have Zillow give you an offer then. Right? They're not putting the time, effort, and energy into going to physically look at the condition of your home. What upgrades have you done? What have you done to the home in the last 5 years, 10 years that you lived in the property? It's a combination of many things that increases value, right? And it depends on the home itself. If you were to renovate the kitchen, renovate the bathrooms, the floors, the windows, the roof, include AC, right? All those come into factors. Maybe adding a swimming pool, right? Having a view of the beach, right? Maybe having a combination of view up in PV, right? Combination of the beach and also downtown Los Angeles. All right. It's very crucial to understand. So days on market will dictate, you know, where you need to be on the market. If you are the listing agent or the agent going in for an opportunity to list a home, you want to make sure you are prepared with the arsenal of information and data. Because how can you explain this to the seller if you don't even know what the market is doing? Okay, are you going to be the agent that the other agents are laughing on and saying, well, there's house A, house B, and house C. House A is going for $1 million, house B is going for $1.05 million, but house C is going for $2 million. Okay, they're all pretty much the same square footage. Which one is the best deal for you? I don't know. Maybe the buyer just says, look, I like C and I have the money for it. But that's far and few. You're not going to find that many people because what they can do to A and B and give them more money, they're going to go with option A and B, right? Because you can do what to a house?
Upgrade it.
Upgrade it, add square footage, tear it down, rebuild. They can do all kinds of stuff. If it's a 2-1, you can make it into a 3-1. If it's a 3-1, you can make it into a 3-2, right? You can add square footage, you can do so much. Maybe it's a single family, but now you want to do a 2-story. Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you. All right, let's take a quick 5-minute break. Make sure you're back in the training room at exactly 11 o'clock, okay? And if you're not in by 11 o'clock, be prepared. Be prepared.
I've eaten more chips and popcorn this week.
So Leanne was gonna teach this class.
Say again?
Leanne was teaching this class.
Yeah, yeah. But she's done, not filling them out. Gonna look on the board there.
Not seen her walking around with men. There's a house in my neighborhood, Simon, and this guy had rented out every little house. He was violating the CCNR's of the neighborhood. He
Yeah.
had beds in the garage. And so one of my neighbors is a judge, she got them together to try to force him to. And so now all the tenants have moved out, the house is a mess. And an investor on the outside of the house, not the inside, offered him $1 million cash. And then when the investor went inside, the house was like, no, I'll give you 8. And let's go keep going. The house has to be gutted.
Yeah,
Gutted.
I believe that.
Oh my gosh, but now I didn't want to sell. That person bought the house for between 7 and 8. Oh my god.
Deal. Yeah, it's been a deal. You would have made a pretty decent profit. Because remember, it's what we call the ARV. Okay, ARV, after repair value. That's when all investors utilize their calculations is what can I sell it after I repair it?
A lot.
Yeah. Yes.
We now know what the money that are sitting because the sellers don't want to come down.
Yeah.
And they're not in a rush to sell.
If there's no rush, then yeah, it's gonna sit on the market for a while, so. And that's fine. You're good, thank you, I appreciate it.
Exactly.
One thing I gotta say is, I appreciate you all. Thank you for committing and coming. I know this is, it's hard to sit for 4 hours. But it's even harder to stand for 4 hours. So,
Is the Zoom wrong, right? I was making sure they had like problems last time. The Zoom
Yeah.
should be okay.
Zoom is good. All right, we've got 2 minutes before we get started. 2 minutes. And just again, just remind me 5 minutes before the next hour to take a quick 5-minute break. I think this kind of helps all of us as well.
It's just.
Any questions you have, any dire question you need to get off your chest that you'd like to ask?
I'm sure that it'll circle around to practical stuff a little bit later, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Will we get into actual pricing since you were talking about knowing your market and, obviously. How there can be unrealistic buyers and sellers. Will you get into like how we actually price that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's. Just like that, so that's. See if it's like. Where the average.
All right, team, it's 11 o'clock. Okay, and if you need, I know it can be very grueling on, getting through these, especially after, lunch. And I hope you guys brought some snacks other than just the junk food. Because, we're not providing lunch that I'm aware of, or are they? No, right? All right. If you need to stand and stretch, by all means, you're more than welcome to do so. All right, so let's continue with inventory. What is the average price of a home your market sells for? So these are all big factors that you as a professional need to know, right? Data is your partner, okay? Data is your partner. And there's a lot of resources that you have. MLS, Realist, third-party sites, right? Asking another agent, hey, you know how many times agents ask agents? Out of curiosity, I have this potential listing, I have this opportunity. Can you run numbers? I want to compare notes of what your opinion of home value is compared to mine. And that's what we do. Because maybe we're off a bit, or maybe you're way off, or vice versa. And then that way you can now have conversations. Well, how did you come across that price? Well, this property that sold last month. Oh, I didn't see that one. Let me look it up. Oh, you're right. Now you can use that as part of your listing presentation because you found a good comp. Remember, comps are comparable, similar to what I call apples to apples, right? Is a home, is an orange comparable to a banana? Is an apple compared to an orange? They're both brown, but they're not identical, right? And that's something that you have to kind of fluctuate, give and take, right? That's what you need to do, adjustments. Okay, because I can tell you from personal experience that I can get 3 licensed appraiser to go out there and evaluate the home. I'm going to get back 3 different opinions about it. That's a proven fact. No one is going to say the home is $782,500. Okay. They're going to have distinguishes and differences. They see things a lot different. It's an opinion of value, just like us too. We have an opinion of value. Does that mean that the seller has to honor our opinion? No. Okay. Just as they don't have to honor an appraiser's opinion. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So, do you have ever received more than one appraisal on the property yourself?
Yep.
Because I don't know whether it came in or.
Well, many times it's because it falls out of escrow. So one buyer goes in, appraiser doesn't come in, there's a difference between what the seller wants and what the buyer wants, buyer backs out. Now another offer comes in, another appraiser comes in and changes the appraisal. In regards to a transaction and having two appraisals, it's very far in few, but are they? Yeah. If the buyer and the seller are willing to, they can get a second opinion. He says, look, that appraisal was too conservative. I know my home is worth more. If you want it, you may have to get a second appraisal done. And I've seen where buyers do get a second opinion, and the second one is a lot higher.
So the bank, just give the bank the appraisal, it's not their appraisal, so you just give them.
No,
They don't look at that.
well, it depends. If the buyer is going traditionally and using traditional financing like conventional FHA, the lenders are going to require an appraisal to be done because they're securing their loan, right? They're securing the money. no one is going to just give $1 million, right? Just for the heck of it, they want to know what the value is. Because if this buyer fails, stops making payments and gets foreclosed, is the consumer the one giving the money going to be able to recoup that back if they need to foreclose on it?
Well, I'm gonna beg you to appraisal. But if I'm selling my property and I wanna get 2 appraisals, and I go with a higher appraisal, will they take that appraisal? That's my question. Can I say, okay, I have 2 appraisals here, take this appraisal?
You're saying from a seller perspective, that the seller pays for an appraisal.
Or the buyer, either one pays for the appraisal, and the appraisal, one comes in lower than the other.
Yeah,
So you have to get financing, so can you pick and choose which appraisal to give the bank, or does the bank say, no, you must use our appraisal?
yeah, that's a very good question. So in my personal opinion, the seller can get an appraisal done on the property before they even put it on the market, right? And that's where sometimes the listing agents will have it, it's based on the appraised value, right? A buyer comes in, submits an offer, most likely that lender is going to require the buyer to still get an additional. Now, with that being said, the seller can say, look, I have already done an appraisal that is less than 30 days. Here it is. That can be submitted to the lender. That can be submitted to the underwriter. The underwriter at the end will determine if it's an appraisal report they're willing to use or not use. In most cases, I can tell you they're not. They're still going to want to get an independent appraisal done. Okay, even though you provide it. But now they can use that, so that can be given to the new appraisal, saying, look, the seller already did an appraisal, so it may come in within that proximity of that appraisal. Okay, but I've seen where they don't use that appraisal. Yes, sir.
Would you suggest if you're, talking to a seller to have them appraise their house?
Absolutely, yeah. I would definitely encourage it if they want to. It's not required, but I would encourage. If they don't believe of what your opinion of value is, then I get it. Where you see the sellers do an appraisal is when it's a trust or when there's a dispute. Usually like a divorce, they want to, if there's trust issues between the husband and the wife, they may want to get an independent appraisal, and sometimes the judge may require them to get a value. Just so that way they have an appraisal done on the property for that reason. Or trust. Family, parents pass away, there's a successor to the trust, and then the responsibility of let's say the sibling, right? One of the sons or daughters, before they sell the property, they get an independent appraisal, so that way all the siblings are on the same page. Okay, yeah, we could get a real estate agent out there, but it's best to get an official appraisal report, which kind of stands out more than just a comparable market analysis. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Even though they're similar, but an appraisal is a licensed appraisal, whereas a real estate agent is not a licensed appraisal. Okay, there's more calculations. They measure the properties. They look at more research before determining an opinion of health. Makes sense. Cool. All right. Why is this? Can I remove this? It's okay. All right, so I thought I could move it, but I guess I can't. I'll just move it here. All right, so let's talk about the interest rates and lender regulations. Make contact with lenders in your area so you can stay up to date on the market and answer any questions your clients may have about the process. How important is this? How important is this?
Extremely.
It's very extremely important, yeah. Because what is the first thing that the consumer asks? What does the market look like right now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wonder if my mortgage.
exactly. Yeah. Can you tell me what the rate is? Okay. When someone comes to you and says, how's the market right now? What do you think you should be saying? If I was to ask you, well, how's the market today?
That's a very good question.
That's a very good question. All right.
So the answer is, or answer saying, well, where are you at in your buying or selling? You know, like.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Did you say it, go ahead and see what?
no, I don't think so. I would think like if he,
All right,
if he needs to buy,
Repeat after me, and this is all everyone in unison. Say this, okay? Simon, how's the market today? Well, it depends. Are you looking to buy, sell, or invest? Okay. We don't know. That's a very vague question, in my opinion. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you accomplishing buying a property? Are you thinking of selling? Or are you thinking to invest in? Okay. Because that opens up a can of worms. We don't know what that means. In my opinion, I don't know what that means. Okay.
Okay, so say I want to buy.
Okay. So how soon are you looking to buy?
Probably in the next 6 months.
6 months, wonderful. Have you looked at already and who you're going to use to get approval, pre-qualify for a loan?
No, I'm inquiring with you, what do you think the interest rates are right now? How's it looking?
Yeah. Yeah, the interest rates right now vary. I would love the opportunity to connect you with one of my phenomenal lenders that can go deep into this conversation and give you what the truth, because it's based on many factors. It's based on your credit score, your FICO score. Okay, the better your FICO score, the better the rate you're going to get. So before I jump into conclusions, when you're ready to take that step, you know, I can align you with one of my lenders. Would that be okay?
Yes,
All right.
great.
Any other questions? Yes.
Make sense, Branden.
I pointed out that some of my friends, they don't know, or they know now, they didn't know that you have to pre-qualify now, even put an offer on home. They don't know that. This is someone that what's the interest rate?
Yeah.
Then-
Okay.
Then I think I would kind of segue back into my conversation. Because when I bought my house, I used to go on my house and the realtor drove it all around. And he said, I know you, this is a 1970s. I know you think that $10,000 is a lot of money, but trust me, it really isn't. And so your expectations are too high. And I was so infuriated. I said, well, what you don't realize is don't assume how much money that I have. Because my parents come get more down if you need it. So his approach was all wrong, and I find my first or my second half of him because of that one comment.
Yeah. All right. I love what you said. Yes.
So we gotta be careful with how we respond to things.
Absolutely. All right, here's my take on that, okay? Because if you know contracts, if you know your purchase agreement, you'll know the answer to that. Okay? The answer is you don't need to be pre-qualified for a loan to submit an offer.
But someone told me that.
Hold that thought, okay? Those are misconceptions. Remember, if you understand the purchase agreement, all of your answers are there. And I'll explain it in more detail as we go through the presentation, okay? Because this is very valuable for you folks. Because if you know how to answer all of the seller and buyer's questions, you win the trophy, okay? And if you need a trophy, my man back there. It's a business, convenient trophy from plaque and all that good stuff, okay? We're in business to be in business, right?
Win-win.
It's a win-win, absolutely. So here's my take on this. Yeah. When I was a young real estate agent, before I had gray hair, and I would be excited, you know, someone said, I want to buy, okay, jump in my car, let's go home shopping.
You didn't even.
I didn't even know. Come to find out that these people had bad credit, had no income, had no down payment, and were no position to buy anything. They just wanted to go out and look at homes. But because I did not know the process, I was just eager to go find a house for them. Okay, I don't want you to waste time. Okay, time is money and money is time, right? You gotta be more efficient. But you also have to cater to your clients, unfortunately. If you want to win this buyer, win the seller, sometimes you gotta do a little bit of the grunt work, okay? So it really depends. Because someone that's very sophisticated may have the means, may not know or need the financials or the finance involved. They may have the cash. And if you don't know and are not listening and asking questions, you'll never know, and you may lose that opportunity because you didn't listen. Okay. Now those are far and few, but I want to educate all of you through my personal experiences throughout my career. I've had a lot of ups and downs. I've been burned. I've been duped. I've been swindled with real estate, and I've been burned by buyers and sellers, okay, and other agents. But it's because in the beginning for me, I was so eager to learn this industry at a very high level. You know, I wanted to know the ins and outs and how to make money, okay? So I made a lot of mistakes, and I don't want you to make those mistakes. For every gray hair in my head and my beard is a mistake I've done. Holy moly, that's a lot of mistakes. Okay, but in essence, okay, if you understand the elements of how the contracts, you don't need to be pre-qualified. If someone says, Simon, I want to submit an offer, okay, well, as a student of this industry, I'm going to ask a lot of questions, and I'll start asking questions is, are you looking into making an all cash offer or using the traditional loan, conventional FHA, VA? Because what if it's a military personnel, right? Maybe someone that served in the military and they want to use their VA loan, right? Or maybe this consumer has very small down payment and we can use a traditional finance, which is FHA with 3.5%. Again, you wouldn't know if you're not asking these questions. Now, how I would explain this, because yeah, back then it was different, right? Jump in, let's go house hunting, right? Let's go house finding the house that fits your bells and whistles, right? While a lot of agents under the misconception that you need to be pre-approved or pre-qualified for a loan. And a lot of consumers will not even entertain an offer until they know your financial stability. Proof of funds, credit score, have you been VU approved, which stands for desk underwriting. What desk underwriting means is very simple, that the buyer has already taken the liberty of giving their credit check, running their FICO scores, checking their verification of income, checking their tax returns, right? And their financials to purchase a home, income and down payment. And then it gets submitted into what's called a desk underwriter. It's not a live person, it's a computer generated report that says 99% of that is probably that they do qualify or don't qualify. It's the ratios, the front end ratios and the back end ratios. Front end ratio should not be no less than 28%. Back end ratios, depending on what type of loan, should be no more than 38 to 42%. Meaning if your income able to pay your expenses plus a mortgage payment, or you have too much credit, right? And credit is what you have in your credit report: car payments, student loans, credit cards, personal loans, line of credit, child support, okay, that show up on your credit report. And then that's how they analyze if your income can sustain a mortgage payment, and that mortgage depends on, you know, how much you qualify. Is it 200,000 or 2 million? Make sense?
What was
Okay.
the front end for it?
What was the what?
The front end.
It's 28%. 28%. Okay. And if you don't know, you got Chris Rivera here. He can tell you what those rates should be. Okay. All right. Some lenders want a minimum FICO score of 680. Okay. Minimum 680. Okay. How many credit bureaus are out there? Three. What are the three?
Experience, right?
They were all there.
I think, yeah. It's Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, right? Okay, those are the three major credit bureaus, right? And all three credit bureaus provide you what's called a FICO score, right? A FICO score. And what the lenders are looking for is your middle FICO score, not your high FICO score, not your low FICO score, but the middle. That's how they determine your qualification. Okay, so when they say you need to have a minimum 680, don't think, is that the high FICO score? No, it's the middle. Okay. What if it's they only are able to generate 2 FICO scores from the 3, and it only comes with 2 FICO scores? What happens then?
They'll average that.
Okay.
In the low.
Yeah, they'll probably end up utilizing the low FICO score because there's no middle one. They're not going to take the high one. So if your low one is less than 680, you may not qualify, or your consumer may not qualify. And it can be a lot of factors and variables to that. But talk to your lender. Ask those questions. Your lenders or your resource ally. They're here to support and help you because they make money when you make money. Okay. They need you, right? They need you because without them, they don't get the loan. But without you, you don't find and identify and close the deal. So they get paid once the deal reports and closes. Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions? All right. So any questions regarding interest rates? Uh-oh. What happened? My thingy.
We always talk about going to Fernando or Chris, but what about using Keller Mortgage?
Yeah,
What's involved with that?
nothing is involved that's any different. The differences is in person, face to face, not in person. Emails back and forth through Keller Mortgage. They're all great in my opinion. The only difference with Keller Mortgage, they're back east. I think they're out in Virginia or Illinois. So sometimes the time
Right.
is different. When you need something immediately, you can probably just walk into Chris or call Fernando and they'll be able to answer your questions. Where a Keller Mortgage or even like Rocket Lending and some of these online mortgage companies, you may have a 20 to 48 hour turnaround for your questions. Okay.
And I think it's similar to, correct me if I'm wrong, that you might have to have an ABA disclosure agreement with your client before you can actually refer them.
Of what?
An ABA
Yes.
disclosure agreement.
What is an ABA?
Your, the site buyer agreement, representation.
Yeah, so how that works is, like Keller Williams is an example. We have affiliations with third-party companies, right? And we have to disclose, and there's disclaimers, right? Because maybe we have interest, we have ownership, or we're collecting some type of money. Like Chris and Cross Mortgage, he's an affiliate and he contributes and pays into Keller Williams to be able to have an establishment, right? Because that's his office, but that's like his own mortgage company. That's his little space. Okay, he pays to be here. Okay, He chooses to be here because there's benefits of being an in-house lender. What are the benefits?
Lots more business, much more opportunity.
You have, he has all of you to rub elbows, right? If you were here at his first time homebuyer seminar on a Saturday, there was a row of people waiting to come in to listen to his mortgage.
Is he gonna do any of those anytime soon?
Yeah, I think he's looking
Cause I
at,
have some people that wanted to sit down and,
yeah, I think he is doing one in February.
okay.
But I would after class or during break, reach out to him, hey, when is your next homebuyer seminar? Because I know he was talking about it a little bit yesterday at our team meeting. I don't know if he said February or March,
Okay.
but he has them on a regular basis, which is good because all of the questions can be answered by the expert. Okay, we're not the experts in mortgages, we're not the experts in home inspection, right? We only do is real estate. Okay. All right, let's go into the economic factor. Obviously, part of the knowing your market, right? We talked about the type of market. We talked about the inventory. We talked about interest rates and lenders, right? Now we're going to go in dive into the economic factor. So economic factor plays an important role in the agent's understanding of the market. What is the employment and unemployment rate in your market? How many workers are entering or exiting the workforce in your market? What is the growth rate of your community? Has the government made any significant changes to the rules, regulations that may affect the housing market? Why is all this important, in your opinion?
Because one variable on its own isn't necessarily going to lead to a market shift.
Okay, all right, good. What else?
Probably relevant to if you're trying to farm an area.
Okay. So let's take, for example, Manhattan Beach. Okay. Everyone familiar with Manhattan Beach? Okay. What do you think that most of your homeowners do for a living in Manhattan Beach?
I'm in a different tax bracket for sure.
Lawyers,
The most minimum property there. Nothing, yeah. Entrepreneurs,
Divorcee.
finance. By the deep.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. Trust, sometimes trust people that family members have left their wealth and, now live in Manhattan. You have a lot of doctors. I have friends that are doctors, attorneys that live in Manhattan.
Finance, tech.
Business owners. We have entertainment, celebrities. I know there is basketball players, NBA, and some football players that live in Manhattan Beach. One of our agents, he is take that back. He was a professional basketball player and is one of our agents. He didn't play NBA, but he played professional basketball in Europe. And that sometimes European players come to NBA, and sometimes the NBA players go and play European basketball. It's just again, but I've seen some stuff on his social media, and man, that guy can jump. He's not much taller than I am, but man, he can jump. But people like himself, he lives in Manhattan Beach. He might have had a fantastic career in basketball that gave him the opportunity to buy something in Manhattan Beach. But if we were to take Manhattan Beach, now put it aside and now go to Skid Row, downtown Los Angeles, third in Broadway, I think. I'm not really familiar, but you have Skid Row, right? But there's real estate there, right? But then you have, unfortunate homeless encampments, people that are mentally ill, right? People that are involved in years of drug and alcohol, right? And sometimes just bad luck, You know, just because you're in Skid Row doesn't mean you have mental issues or drug. It could just be bad luck. You lost everything. And you have no choice but to be in that area, right? But the distinguishes of the economic, you know, really matters because the employment, right? When there's strong stability of employment, right? That's going to help raise the value of homes. Whereas an area that is very low in inventory, some parts of the nation, right? You look at California, but then you look like mid to even the eastern part of the US, right? Like I think places like Missouri, Illinois, Chicago, you know, where the price of homes are significantly less than maybe it's here in California. It's very expensive to live here, you know, in California, whereas you can buy a big mansion with 20 acres for 300,000 in parts of Texas, you know, parts of Georgia, you know. Now you're out in the boonies, but you got a big home,
Yeah,
you know.
tomato may scoop it up there.
Tornado or hurricanes, but then we have what do we have? We have earthquakes. You know, and now we have you know, some rain too. Actually, it's like kind of strange, right? But those are big factors, right, that can impact the economic aspect of the area, right? Look at Venice Beach. You guys know where Venice Beach is?
Yeah.
Okay, Venice Beach is a very touristy area. In the last 10 years, property value just skyrocketed in that area. And now you're starting to see a dip because of the encampments. If you drive down on Venice Boulevard, you'll be surprised on how many people are homeless, people that are mentally ill, you know, just people just roaming the neighborhoods. And that definitely impacts our economic, right? Because people will not want to buy property in areas that we call war zones, right? That there's going to be issues with break-ins, vandalism, theft, injury, right? And there's a site that I follow called the People of the Streets. The People of the Streets, or well, the People of the Streets,
LA, I think it's
something like that,
Yeah.
on social media, but
Yeah.
it's crazy.
horrible.
You know, what you see on social media, people videotaping these people, you know, causing fires, you know, defecating in areas, not going, you know, to a proper place, right? I mean, there's so many crazy stuff, you know, but you want your real estate to be in those areas. Well, that's part of it, right? Employment and unemployment as well. You know, I look at areas like for growth, you know, this is again something that you as professionals need to start really looking into is areas of gentrification, right? Areas that were at one point run down. And now it's an upcoming community, right? And that's where you make a lot of money because you doing the labor, prospecting, door knocking, homes that are run down, beat down, tired, right? That you have investors that are here saying, look, you know, find me a great deal. We'll go in there, zero contingency, close as fast as possible. And then once we fix it, turn around and sell it, you're the listing agent on it. Okay, and there's a lot of areas, a lot of patches in Los Angeles that we're seeing, you know, areas that are upcoming. Okay, study, learn from those areas, because those are where you're going to make a lot of money. Okay, you as, again, as a real estate professional, but more so as an investor too, if you do decide to jump in and buy. And it doesn't have to be something super expensive, right? Something small. $400,000 to $500,000 to start, maybe needs about 60,000, 70,000 in repairs, and then put it back on the market or rent it out for rental income as well, you know. But you got to do calculations, right? You got to be smart about it. Don't just go, I'm going to be an investor, right? If you don't want to lose money, you got to understand the ins and outs of it as well. Does that make sense? Any questions on economic factors?
It's interesting that you started talking about Manhattan Beach, and that you're gonna talk about the new mansion tax and what the impact might be on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Because there's like cities that are new communities, and I think like Riverside, San Bernardino, they have what they call not HOAs, but Mellows. Okay, and if you don't know that there's Mellows, that's in addition to already property taxes that the homeowner is responsible. And I'll share a story with you. My brother, my stepbrother, my stepdad, son, about 8 years ago, bought a home. He used me, yes, he did. He needed to help him buy the house, but he ended up buying out in Lake Forest. I think Lake Forest.
Yeah,
I forgot, but it's out there in Riverside County.
well, Red Lake Forest and South Orange County. Lake Forest.
Not Lake Forest,
You mean
Lake,
Rancho Cucamonga or
no, not Lake Forest, what's the
Lake
other?
Elsinore?
Lake Elsinore.
That's, yeah, that's there.
Yeah.
You're saying,
Yeah, going down to San Diego, Temecula area. I knew it was a lake, because there, you could see the lake, but I think it's, yeah, okay.
Close enough.
So, I didn't know the area. Okay, and here's a prime example. So we went in with emotions of, looking, and thank goodness my stepbrother's super flexible. He was just so excited to buy, and I was so, a humbling experience to see my stepbrother, who worked his tail off and had, some ups and downs, got a divorce, had to pay alimony. Took him a long time to get back on his feet, but he did. So when he said, I'm ready to buy, we started looking. His budget was very small, but it was something. And, thank goodness, to this day, he lives in his property. He has substantial equity. He bought it at the right time. But the moral of the story, what I'm saying is, I did not know Lake Elsinore, but that Lake Elsinore has Mellows. And that's on top. It's an additional supplement tax that the consumer has to pay, and that's substantial. What should have been, his average tax was 3, maybe 4,000 annual, was almost triple because of Mellows. And the only way we found out was when we were in escrow. And title does their title search, and then we see the title report, and it says, well, what is this? And I didn't even see it. I knew about it, but I didn't put 2 and 2. But it was the lender, because the lender now has to do calculations, because that's an additional money that the consumer has to pay. So now it could have changed the trajectory of him qualifying, because that goes into his income mortgage. Does that make sense? So it was like, whoa, it was like cutting it close to his back end ratio because of that substantial tax bracket of Mellows.
Is there a local area in South Bay that is known for that?
Not that I'm aware of here in the South Bay, because most of South Bay is very established already. Usually where you see Mellows is areas such as communities that are coming East Vale. I don't know if you know East Vale. There was also, that used to be part of Ontario and Miraloma. But then when they incorporated it East Vale, a lot of development in the early 2000s, they were including these Mellows, which is taxed above your regular property taxes. And some of them last 25 to 30 years, some even last 50 years, depending. And what is Mellows, all right? This is something that you can research on Google or YouTube. Type in, what is Mellows? Well, Mellows is basically house with the community. Parks, police, fire, recreations, government, streets, lights, sewer, anything and everything that involves the city, it helps build that community. Okay, it's like HOA, but it's now contributing to the community. Okay, parks and recreations, stuff of that nature. Okay, so
this can be, Mellows can be in addition to HOA and all the other property tax. Okay.
yes, Yes, ma'am, absolutely, absolutely. Okay. And that goes into with the government too. You know, the government can also include, you know, an increase or a spike in fees, right? It goes like with the municipal trash too, water is in a rise too, right? Trash has increased as well. All that comes into consideration. So neighborhood numbers, nearby shops and restaurants, nearby health facilities, neighborhood attractions, right? All those come into factor as avenues of investigations. Imagine if they were going to build an amusement park here in the South Bay, right? Such as like a, I don't know, a Disneyland or a Magic Mountain, Knott's Berry Farm, Universal Studios, right? You know, I can share with you that back in the day, you know where Terranea Resort, you know what it used to be before Terranea?
Greenland.
Oh, wow.
Marineland. You guys know SeaWorld, right, in San Diego?
Right.
Well, our SeaWorld was Marineland back in the 70s and 80s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And then for the longest time, that area was deserted for 20-something plus years, I think, until Terranea ended up acquiring the real estate there. And now if you have a, you know, a high-end 5-star, you know, resort. Terranea. But that used to be Marineland. I remember I have a picture as a little infant sitting on some little table, and there's a shark. And then myself, you know, so yeah, and that was at Marineland. But imagine like an amusement park coming back, you know, would that increase or decrease value? It depends, right? It really depends. Yeah, so just things to know. This is why we want to be the local expert, you know, like the refinery, right? If you're listing a property near the refinery, right? What are the pros and cons, right? If you live on the other refinery that's in Redondo Beach, right? That big one. What does that entail? What does that help increase or decrease the value of home? If your home is near a freeway, near a high school, near an airport, near industrial, near a major street, right? Will that help increase or decrease the value of your home? Those are things that you need to take into consideration as well, right? That's important because if you're ready to go on a listing appointment, you got your computer, your listing agreement in place, and you've done your research, and you know that this home is within proximity to the police or the fire department, that on 24/7, police and firefighters are coming in with lights and sirens going on. Will that increase or reduce the value? Is someone willing to pay more or less, right? Whereas, you know, being closer to the beach, right? We have ocean view, right? Canyon views, right? Will that increase or reduce the value of the home? All those stuff you've got to take into consideration. Los Angeles is another example, right? Try to find parking anywhere in Los Angeles. Okay, horrible. Okay, there are people that have to park their cars 10 blocks and Uber or have someone pick them up just to get home because there's no parking within their complex or home. Okay, a lot of meters in Los Angeles too. Okay, and then those parking enforcers they're notorious. I couldn't believe I got a ticket for not having a front plate. Yeah, I was in Beverly Hills. A Toyota Camry. I want to say it's a Ferrari, but it's not.
So if they see a Tesla, they know there's no front plate, they write tickets all the way.
Oh, wow.
And they say, what other cars they do, because I have a friend, her husband works for, and they search for
Just
Teslas with no front plates.
Yeah.
And then they go to any car.
Yeah.
with no front plate, they just write the tickets and make their photos. whatever. So
Yeah.
don't go to Beverly Hills
Yeah.
if you don't have a front plate.
Now you know.
Yeah, it's so funny, it did happen in Beverly Hills. I come up to my car and I see the ticket on my windshield. Citation for no front license plate. I go, are you freaking kidding me? And what do? I'm looking for this code enforcer because I was gonna like, you really gave me a ticket for not having a license plate? You know, but I couldn't find it. It just said S. Gonzalez. It's like I was looking for that S. Gonzalez code enforcer. So yes, be careful if you're in the west side. You don't have a front plate.
Anywhere. It's worse.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the code enforcement, yeah. I love LA too.
I mean, I love it.
There's a lot
I
of
hate the
fun
work.
places. Yeah, I love Los Angeles. There's a lot of cool things out there, and you know, a lot of history as well, and a lot of memories for me. Because as a child, I used to live in K-Town, Koreatown.
Yeah.
You know, so I have a lot of fond memories as a kid living in Koreatown. And then eventually we ended up moving to the San Gabriel Valley, you know, grew up in that area. But there's a lot of cool, hip and, you know, history just in Los Angeles about. And I remember like downtown Los Angeles, man, oh man, I kicked myself in the rear. What you could have bought things in downtown without even knowing what was going to happen 30 years later. You know, Broadway in itself. I remember as a kid going to the movie theaters. We would go in at 11 o'clock in the morning and we would leave sometimes 6 or 7 in the evening because we were able to see 3 movies.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you're just movie jumping.
No, the movie
We used to
theaters,
do that as kids.
yeah, the movie theaters back then, you were able to watch 3 movies. The premiere movie that just came out, and there was usually like 2 other movies that were previously, but you could go in there, walk in, sit down, have popcorn, and you could be in the middle of that movie going, but they would rotate it. And then 15 minutes, they would pause, we would go to the restroom, come back, and then they would start the second. It was all day. Yeah, and I think it was like $5.
Did you ever go to Clinton's downtown?
Oh, absolutely. I could share so many memories like this. Yeah, they spent $10 million to renovate it.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a great place. I recommend all of you just,
7th of Broadway, where?
it's on 7th
It's
Broadway.
Broadway. It's on Broadway.
If you haven't been to downtown, I encourage you to go to Clifton's, okay? Clifton's, if you know the history, was in the early 20s.
Great, I know.
And it's a cafeteria. And what they were known for, it was feeding the homeless too.
Oh, wow.
But the cafeteria was really cool back then because the main entrance was like the forest. You had the bears, you had the eagles, and you had waterfalls, and I was like fascinated. And you would get a tray, and then you just go pick whatever food you want, and come back. And there were 3 tiers, 3 floors. You have where you can sit in the main, you can go to the second floor that had these old images like the forest, the rivers, the mountains. And then you would go to the top tier, which was like the presidential. And it was kind of fancy, red carpet, all white and all that stuff. Well, maybe 18, no, not even 18, maybe about 10 years ago or so, they renovated. And
Like
it was,
an experience in every
Yeah.
room you walk into.
oh yeah. You know, there's an elevator that you can jump and there's a hidden 4th floor that you can go up there.
Inside of it too.
Yeah.
There's you have to know people
Yeah,
to get in.
I was fortunate enough, when they launched and opened up Clifton's, they gave me a little tour. There's a small elevator that no one knows. There's a main one that the food goes up and down, but there's also another one that's hidden that no one knows about. And it takes you to even a higher tier. It's pretty fascinating. Yeah, it's a club.
Like for the
It's a
club.
club, so you have, you know, like hip hop, And then you have jazz, and there's all kinds of different events as well, so. Yeah, but again, going back to knowing, the economic factor of it, so. All right, cool. Any ahas?
I have a major aha.
Yes, ma'am.
So I now know that they don't have to be pre-qualified to put an offer in.
Say that again?
That clients still, the pre-qualification is not required to put it in offer.
Yep.
I've been told that several times ago.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a big aha, big win, because again, you do not have to be pre-qualified. The purchase agreement says in there that the buyer has up to 3 days to get pre-qualified for a loan. 3 days. So I mean, you could submit an offer, and the offer can be in negotiations or accepted. And if it gets accepted, the buyer still has 3 additional days after acceptance to get pre-approved for a loan.
But isn't it easier to have them pre-qualified?
Well, of
first?
course,
Yeah, so a lot
of
of people
course.
asking for like the proof, like, so like we need your
Well,
offer letter for.
Yeah,
You will even consider you.
yeah, so here's the pros and cons to it. Okay, the pros and cons is very simple. If you're the listing agent and you're getting an offer, you can ask for request of items, okay? We need proof of funds, we need FICO scores, we need a desk underwriting approval or a pre-approval with the lender's information. Or you can say you need to be cross-qualified, okay? These are conditions and stipulations that the listing agent and the seller can request. Because again, the seller doesn't want to waste time if they don't know 100% if you're going to qualify. But the contract says you don't have to. You can submit an offer and get the offer acceptance, and then have the 3 days to get the loans necessary. Now, again, okay, most agents will not entertain. Most agents would say, if you don't have the proof of funds, or even spoken with a lender, we're not gonna even consider your offer. We'll table it for now, but we are gonna need who the lender is. So those are usually the conditions. Yeah.
And I guess not, depending on what market we're, what's what I'm looking for. If a house is really sought after, you would still want to recommend your client to be pre-qualified, because if you're going up against other bids and you're not pre-qualified, well, they're probably going to look at the person that is.
Yeah.
So it's how you want to position your client and how you want to prepare them.
Absolutely. So here's my take on this, because again, you're the professional, right? Part of your job is the screening, right? You need a screen, and I'm not going to be wasting my time if you're not willing to put in the effort to get pre-approved, right? Because I'm not the one, I'm the one that's going to be submitting the offer, and then I have to be the agent that gives bad news and saying, by the way, my client couldn't qualify for the loan. We need to rescind or retract or cancel, right? So as a professional, part of the buyer consultation, right, is to sit with them, consult with them, get an idea, and then send them to the lender for screening if they even qualify for a loan. But your job is to ask these questions. Are we going traditional finance, or are you going in cash? Okay. Because then you have the base and the foundation to take now the next step. Because if you are on the other side of the table, right, you're the listing agent. Are you gonna flip the coin and hope that this buyer gets qualified? Well, you know what? Aren't you a little bit more proactive? Get your clients to see if they even qualify for a loan. So that goes back to my personal experience when I used to just be, that happy agent that I wanted to go show homes, when reality didn't qualify. So this is where you come in, and it's your responsibility to ask, and don't be afraid to ask, well, what do you do for a living? Oh, wonderful. Now, in the, do you get paid, once a month, twice a month, weekly? Okay, fantastic. What was last year's annual income? What was the annual income the previous year, right? What's your FICO scores? What do you do? All those are very important questions, because again, if they cannot answer, then are you really working with the right buyer? Okay, because guess what? The lender's gonna ask those questions. Well, I don't feel comfortable giving you that information. I understand that. Well, I don't feel comfortable submitting an offer either.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just being honest, okay? You take control of the narrative here, folks, okay? You control it. You're the one navigating, you're the expert, and you are responsible for it. Yes, ma'am.
Just letting you know.
You're so welcome. Hey, I love it. All right, take a 5-minute break. Thank you. We're almost done. We're halfway through the thing.
Yeah.
I'll give you mine right now. Okay.
I'm looking at it right now. I got it. So it's here. For what time? Today?
Yeah,
I'm gonna be here until
I just told her that. She's ready another day, so, I don't know, do you have anything tomorrow, just tell her tomorrow?
tomorrow. I have that training out in Seal Beach.
Oh.
Oh, that's right, sign there. Yeah, I asked about that. You guys have
Yeah.
I just want the location and stuff where I'm going.
Okay. Yeah, would have been perfect today too, because I don't have regional, but I'm doing, Leanne was supposed to teach and she couldn't,
She told me. So, okay, well, I mean, she did, it was kind of just
kind of last minute.
last minute, she even said that, so.
Yeah. Love to, man. It's been a while.
So, all right.
I just wanted to say hi. I just heard Persevera, but I have my hands full of orange right now. I'm so sorry. I'm Christina Drager. Nice to meet you, new agent. I just had a question about your first time home buyer, maybe little seminars. Are you doing one soon? I haven't.
Nothing set for first time home buyer seminar yet.
Okay,
The last one we did was in, I want to say September, late August. It was huge.
bummer,
We had
yeah.
like 80 people there. It was crazy. If not 100, it was.
I
nuts.
believe it.
There were people back out there. But what I want to do is one for next month, but it's gonna be more of a, not a first time home buyer, but it can be a first time home buyer, but it's more of a 2-1 buying kind of seminar to we can show them how these temporary buy downs can help them get the that's affordable to that.
I'm bringing on your interest rate.
Well, it brings their interest rate down temporarily in terms of payments. It doesn't change their interest rate. So they're going to increase the interest rate. So let's say it's 6.5%. What you do is you buy it down to 4.5% for the payment for the first year,
Mhm.
and then 5.5% for the second year.
Okay,
And that money is spread between the 4.5% rate and the 6.5% rate. That payment spread, let's say, $800 a month. So for the year, it's $9,600. You get to sell a concession for that. So you're going to the seller and say, hey, help subsidize this monthly payment for the first 2 years. It's just a lot of people that have a better cash flow for the first couple of years and then kind of bridge the gap to get to that point where they can refi.
sure.
We all know rates are gonna be headed down from
Mhm.
2023, 2024, but how do you capitalize on that now?
Correct.
So you can do these.
Okay, I'm glad you
temporary
explained that.
buys.
I didn't understand that. I totally get the bigger picture now.
Yeah, it's, I mean,
That's awesome.
That's in its simplistic nature, that's what it's doing. It's just subsidizing the payment for a couple of years. That's really what you're doing. And that the payment note rate is still the same. You're still getting the same tax benefits. You're still getting the interest rate deduction.
Sure.
Because you're paying, you truly are paying 6.5. It's just that you're paying this 4.5. Then we put this other separate impound account from the seller and held the money, then we cover the difference. So that there's still a full payment being made. And the beauty is you don't lose the money. So if you refi after 12 months, whatever's still in that account, gets refunded to apply down the principal balance.
Okay.
So you still get it, so it's a concession from the seller. I'm thinking about doing it like that. I think for people. The number one or one of the biggest objections they can get is payments too high.
For sure.
Right? It's, oh, can't afford it. And I just had one today, or yesterday, same thing, client, payments too high. But I showed them to invite it, and all of a sudden they're like, that's not bad.
It's doable.
Right,
Because
so,
they're also thinking about what's gonna happen in the next couple of years.
and then, you know, it bought right down to 4.375 for it.
Wow.
Still was on the high side, but there's tweaks they can make, and it's up to them.
Yeah.
But I've shown them how they can get down to that range.
I love it. Thank you.
That might be the next seminar we'll do,
Okay.
being like.
That's actually obviously super like relevant to this era right now, so that.
Yeah, I mean,
Something most people should know, even first time home buyers, so.
and, you know, I don't wanna. Can't come back to the homebuyer program, because the first time homebuyer programs are
Oh, it's
covered by the
different.
states.
Okay.
So the state dictates rate, they mandate everything, right? So we can't do it through all that because they law.
It's the last five of
Because
your.
the lender is someone who's gonna take. the-
Yeah, last five.
Okay. You know. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
I'll tell you next week.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be at that event at Seal Beach all day. And then on Saturday, I have that AOC retreat too. I know.
Fun weekend.
Cool. All right, team, where's my group? It's 12 o'clock, it's 12:01.
In 7 minutes.
It's okay. By this time, I'm more lenient.
All right.
So far, are you getting value of this class, I hope?
I am.
Okay, good, okay. You
When I
know,
asked, was I should have asked one of my past persons that are income.
yes. Well, I mean, if you pick up one or two nuggets, then it's done its job. I know a lot of the material is a little boring, but you know, in essence, it helps you, propels you, and it gives you just a different angle and approach and how you can work your business. Okay, and you're gonna implement your style of how you approach your business, right? Which is fine, because everyone has their own style and flavor and how to do it. As long as it works, right? All right, well, let's go ahead and continue. And any other aha that you got before we continue? All right. So now let's talk about building your expertise. Building your expertise. Become the real estate expert of your choice. Who wants to be the expert in your profession, right? All of us can be raising your hand. Okay, how come only 50% of you are?
Yes.
I'm checking, just checking. Of course, because when you become the expert, right, opportunities will show. Okay, opportunities will show. So 4 steps to building the expertise, build your expertise. Obviously, number 1 is learn the market. Learn your clientele. Listen to individuals. I love that. Keep the headlines in content. All right, so we kind of already mastered learning the market, right? Kind of, right? Understanding the area, what are places people go to, restaurants, stuff of that nature, right?
The economy.
Say again?
The economy.
The economy, yes. Learn your clientele, all right? Let's dive deep into what that means. What does that mean in your opinion?
Know what they need, what they want,
Okay,
maybe when they board it, when they're not,
okay,
know them.
all right. Anyone else? What does that mean? Learn your clientele.
I mean, kind of understanding their expectations, you know, sometimes
Okay.
like. Especially if it's like a couple, sometimes one's over here and one's over here, you know, you really have to,
Right.
I don't know, I think you gotta have, being an expert helps like to identify what, something that could work for both of them.
Right. Okay. Anyone else?
So knowing their wants and needs based on their lifestyle, their
Okay.
income,
Got
and
it.
so forth.
All right, cool. You know what my opinion of learn your clientele? Okay. For me is like, I go back to, one thing that I failed to mention to you before I went into law enforcement, I worked for the school district. And build a lot of relationships when I worked there, and I only worked there 18, 19, 20, 21. 22, I think, 5 years. But I met and had a lot of friends that were teachers, teachers, the aides, principals, vice principals, warehouse, security. So I started knowing my clientele, and more so when I worked for the county as well. Okay. Learn your clientele. It's like anything. If you have a second career, right? You may be in the medical industry, you may be an attorney, you may be a teacher, and you may be in the warehouse. You already know those type of people, right? That is one of the best resources that you can, or your significant other. What if your significant other has, you know, a management or leadership role that allows you to go in there and talk about, you know, first-time homebuyer programs for them, where now you can get like a Chris Rivera or a lender to go out there and help and speak and help, you know, the colleagues into home ownership. And the company allows you to come in there and do it in 1 hour presentation, right? Or you're in a line of work that allows you. Maybe you're a parent, right, that has kids, and there's school function, mommy, father events, that now you're commingling with other parents, right? Do they know that you're in the real estate industry? Okay. If you know Heather Tana has 2 small boys, cute as heck, full of energy, run around. He was here at the mentorship meeting yesterday, the smallest one, but she built her database around other mothers. Okay, other mothers, because of her older son who's in kindergarten or 1st grade. So she's building rapport, building momentum, and building those connections with the mommy clients, you know? And she's now wiggling her way into those opportunities because they also have significant others. They also have, you know, opportunities to buy, sell, and invest. So know your clientele, right? Very, very important. Okay. Also, your significant others, right? They may be teachers, they may be pilots, right? You know, they have their colleagues too. Let them be your resource and your support. By the way, my husband is in real estate. By the way, my wife is in real estate. Here's her business card. Okay, let them help you as well with potential clients. Okay, I love number 3. Listening to the individual. Here's the problem that I see with a lot of agents. They're great talkers. Okay, they're charmers and they'll tell you what you want to hear. But on the flip side to that, you want to be a great listener. Okay, because when you become a great listener, you'll know exactly what their needs are. You'll know exactly what their wants are. And this is why it's important when you're on a buyer consultation or even on a listing consultation to really let them speak. Because you'll get the answer all the time. Does that make sense? Right? Keep the headlines in context, right? Don't go veering off somewhere else, right? And that's very easy to do so. For me and for a lot of agents, they'll pick up something when they go on a listing appointment, right? As soon as you walk into the house, they will identify something that they can do to start the conversation, what we call ice breaking, right? Because you don't want to just say, you know, come in and start talking real estate. You want to connect, right? What if you are walking to the property and you find something that you can connect or can resonate with it, right? Maybe it's sports. Maybe it's flowers or plantations. Maybe it's decor that you can start a conversation. Maybe they have pets, right? And you're a pet lover. Okay, try to align yourself on something that they may find of interest to you, right? You already have all the necessary arsenal tool, right? Your listing presentation, your checklist of items that you are going to consult on the process of home ownership, right? But if you can keep all that within the context, you'll be in and you'll be out, okay? And I know there's a lot of real estate agents that'll spend literally hours and hours and hours and hours with the seller. And then you have other agents that within 30 to an hour, they're in and out.
How long should you take with the seller?
Say again?
How long should you take? How much time should you take with the seller?
It really depends. You know, you can dictate how long you're going to stay.
Or should it be hours? Because you said hours and hours.
Well,
Not be hours and hours.
Well, I mean, if you want to do 100 units, you think you have time for hours and hours to spend with the seller? Yeah, well, and that's the big factor, right? That's the big distinguisher, right? Now, you know, my personal belief in a listing appointment should be an hour or less. Okay, you're in, you're out, you're ready, you got the signed listing agreement executed, you're ready to go out and start doing what you need to do to list the property. Okay, but again, it depends on the circumstances. Maybe the seller has a lot of questions. Remember, you control the narrative of that, how that looks. From the moment you walk in, right? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you know, before we sit down and go over my listing presentation, let me go through how a buyer will see the home. Let me go through the house. And you go out and look at the property as you would a consumer. Go in there, look at the bedrooms, look at the bathrooms, go in the backyard, look at the kitchen, look at the hallway, get an idea. Because remember, you already know what you want to list the property for, right? You should know, right? So when you're ready to sit down with the seller or sellers, right? Because you don't want to go on a listing appointment if there's two people on the on title, but only one person is there. Why? Why?
Yeah, they both make the decision.
Yeah. You're gonna repeat yourself.
Well, not just that, they're gonna say, well, let me talk to my husband, and let me talk to my wife and get back to you.
You just wasted an
That's
hour.
not what you want, right? You want to have all the decision makers right there so they can make a decision right there. And if they don't know the decision, then let's collaborate. And what is it that we're missing here that is stopping you from listing your home today? Because the goal here, folks, is to get the listing, right? No difference in the goal is to get the buyer to work with you, right? So learn to be the local expert. Know your lore, the language of real estate. It all starts with the language of real estate. Know your business. Notice changes over time in your personal business, right? Okay. So going back to what we started the first part of the morning, right? Know your market. know your stats, know your data, know your surroundings, know the stats, right? Now we go into the meats and potatoes of what that looks like. What are you gonna do different? Why should I hire you to be my realtor of choice, right? Yes, ma'am.
Curiosity question, in this area, is there busy times and non-busy times? Like in Canada, summertime, when kids are out, like leading up to that, that's when all the business happens, because everyone wants to take care of everything when the weather's good. But weather's good almost all year round here, so is there kind of peaks and troughs in the time of year?
There is. It's been the rule since I've been in real estate. And it's still the same for the most part. Typically, the best time when you see a lot of activity is May, June, July, into August. The reason is most people want to start doing their moves because kids are getting out of school or in summer school and ready to transition as they start the new school. So you'll see a lot of activities during the summer. Yep. Okay. But if there is a demand that they need a sell for job location, then you're going to see property throughout the year. But where we see a lot of the most, and I've seen it through the multi-trend report here, is we see a spike in activities and sales May, June, July, and August, 3 months out of the year. January is starting good momentum. February starts the traction. March, we're seeing more and more traction. And then April starts, kind of going up and up. And then May is when we just boom. Typically, it's what we see in a lot of markets and a lot of real estate offices as well. Hope that kind of answers your question. Any other questions? So knowing your clientele, who are the buyers? Who are the sellers? Does the market benefit your clients? Does the market put your clients at risk? All right, interesting questions. Let's identify who your buyers are, right? Is this an area populated with a lot of renters? Or is this an area that is populated with a lot of homeowners, right? That's a big factor. What are you trying to tap into? Are you trying to tap into more sellers? Are you trying to tap into more buyers, right? Because if I wanted to just focus on buyers, who do you think I'm going to be hitting? I'm going to be hitting the apartment complex, the ones that have 50 plus, 100 plus units. It's an easy because I can hit so many doors within so many time, within a certain time, right? Whereas if you are focused on sellers, right, going door to door, it may take you a little longer than an apartment complex, right? But what are you trying to accomplish? All right, go to Marina Del Rey. Okay, everyone know where Marina Del Rey is? What do you see in Marina Del Rey?
Apartments.
A lot of apartments, a lot of condos. Yeah.
How would we market to people in the apartment though?
Well, it depends. You can market as many factors. Maybe you have a just listed property or a listing that came on the market in the surrounding area, and you're trying to identify a buyer that might be interested in moving out of an apartment complex and is ready to home ownership. Maybe it's a family that they're considering because they're growing. They may need the extra size of home, so they may be in the transition of buying something. Or it can be that you don't have any of that stuff, but you're just trying to find buyers that are motivated, that they are looking to buy something. And you just happen to be at the right timing, right place and timing, right?
You should go to the management of the building and find out whether or not they allow you to go in and put door knockers or something like
Yeah,
that.
because most won't. I mean, I was property manager for 10 plus years here in Torrance, and we didn't really allow that. And I mean, I did have a lot of residents at the time asking me, about homes and all that, because they're new to the area
Sure.
and stuff like that. So I want to find out kind of like how to really
kind of like go after them. I don't have a listing or anything, but
Sure.
trying to like find out who's really in the market to buy.
Right.
But without, you know,
Yeah, it all depends, right? Because you'll see immediately a sign that says no soliciting, right? And if it has no soliciting, then that means you gotta bypass it and go to the next one. And for the most part, you know, high-end areas or condominiums that have HOAs, public will not like, will want you to solicit. Unfortunately, you know, you can't control that. You just gotta move on to other areas that do, where they have the flexibility. Or maybe you can speak with the manager and say, look, you know, I'm the local local agent in the area. We just picked up a new listing. I would love the opportunity to you know, hand this to you, and maybe you can help me by passing this to the units or to the tenants.
I mean, as a manager, like I didn't really like that. 'Cause I don't want to
Of
lose
course,
residents, you know, so.
yeah. And if that's the case, then there's nothing you can control. Unfortunately, you just gotta go to the next one.
Yeah.
Was there any curiosity when you were managing, like, would you allow people to put business cards in the mailroom?
Yeah, if they wanted to put it like on in the like lobby area, like next to the mailboxes, yeah, they could put, you know, their card or something right there, but I wouldn't necessarily allow, and that wouldn't for anybody, I mean, it could be the cable company or any kind of business, I wouldn't just allow them to just go place it on everybody's doors, right? But if they wanted to put something in the local area, then they could.
Okay, so in this case, and then I'll come back to you, is that if you have the budgeted, the market budget, then I would say maybe you can do bulk mailing.
Yeah, that's what I have in my head is like doing
Yeah.
the bulk mailing. Just
Yeah.
sort of- That way, I mean, if they're interested, they can look at it, if not, they can throw it away.
Yeah, I mean, and you cannot stop the mail carrier from delivering, you know, to the mailboxes, so that might be the other factor is, well, if there's 5,000 tenants in this little community, would it be more impactful for me to do bulk mailing and go to my local post office? And I can show you after the class how you can use and leverage the United States Postal Service for that purpose. And it's great because it has like a grid, and it'll tell you if you click on it, it'll turn color, and then it'll say how many residents and how many businesses that area the mail carrier will deliver. Sometimes it's 300, sometimes it's 400. So, and then it'll tell you a cost to deliver flyers or campaigns.
Okay, you can create your own flyer and then like upload it to their system and then they just provide the mailing list.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
that's-
no, you
yeah.
just go and deliver the bulk to the local post office that is on that area. So
Okay.
let's say, for example, right, grid G3 is here, right? Okay, on the website, and I'll show you after class, so that way you can use it as an avenue when you're ready to market yourself and have a marketing budget for it. Say the grid here is a G3, right? This is an area that the post office is service. You click on it, it's going to turn purple, and it's going to say how many residents it's going to hit, and also includes business. So then it'll tell you it's going to hit 375 residents and 80 businesses. And then it'll tell you the cost to deliver mail. Your job then is to get the flyer, right? And if it's 500, you're going to create 500 flyers or a company, right? And then you're going to take it to the post office, because when you click on that, it's going to tell you, go to post office 90505 in Torrance. Then you go and deliver your bulk marketing to the post office. They process, they stamp it, and they deliver to your residents.
Okay, so that's my off. Yeah, it's my big on. Very interested in that.
Yeah, so this is leverage that you can use. Is it gonna cost some money? Yes, but that's part of real estate.
But
That's
it
part
has
of
to be
business.
less than like direct marketing, right? Like the
Yeah.
actual course like that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So this has to be.
You
a lot less.
bypass all that because they charge you a upcharge, and they're doing what you can do directly.
Yeah, I love
Because
it.
remember, you're directly sending it to the US Post Office. Okay, and I'll show you the website and how you can do that. It's pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
Thank
And when
you.
I learned about that, it was like, yeah, it makes sense. It's super cheap. And you can do probably 1,000 doors for like $80.
Oh, that's awesome.
And hit a 1,000. Yeah,
I already have like an area picked out, I just don't know.
you'll be surprised. You don't
Yeah.
have to even think of it. It'll tell you what area. And you can narrow the map and find different grid. And then it'll tell you how many houses you're gonna have and businesses too.
Okay.
Because businesses are also homeowners too and investors.
Right.
Yeah,
Did you say $8?
$80.
Okay, that's why I was like, wait.
Yeah, no, $80.
500 people, that's a lot of money. Giving you the close parts and stuff.
Yeah, but you know, again, you know, there's ways and.
Yeah.
Remember, our number one
Flyer
goal,
would be super.
our number one goal is to help you fish and hunt for business, all right? That's what Keller Williams and any real estate brokerage is supposed to teach our agents and how to go out and fend for yourself, right? Teach them to learn how to cultivate business, all right? And this is just some of the primary stuff that you can use. All the curriculum is one part, but out there is the other part is, you know, how do you connect? How do you go on a listing appointment? How do you do a consultation? Who are the individuals supporting the elite key players that are helping you achieve your goals, right? Well, there's ins and outs, and there's a lot of different ways in how you can market yourself, brand yourself. Keller Williams is one, but you know, having third-party sites as well to help you. Now use the resources, you know, title companies are willing to help with the marketing. They'll create the campaign flyers for you. And then you just go to the post office and pay $100 for 1,000 doors, you know,
Right.
and you, with your command, you can create your logo, your photo, your social media, your website, and then a flyer, right? We just listed, or maybe something that you can piggyback from like a first-time home buyer. Stuff of that nature that will help you generate opportunities. Remember, it's a numbers game, it's a contact sport. The more people that you're hitting, the more opportunities someone will call it. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
One question.
Yes.
So I'm confused on these parts.
Yeah.
So I have a campaign and I want to target, say, and I know how to do that part of it. So are we allowed to use, you say just listed? Can we put someone else who's just listed on there, or is it our listing that we put on the campaign? Otherwise?
Yeah. So here's my take. Remember, a lot of the information you can gather through the multiple listing service, right?
Right.
The only thing you cannot do, make it look like it's your listing, okay? Or that you just sold that property. Anything that leans towards that is a violation. And the agent somehow, some way will probably find out, hey, wasn't this the property that you sold? Hey, isn't this a photo that you took? And then I get the complaint. So the way to protect yourself with that is very simple. Any and all information is deemed reliable, but all sources from the multiple listing service. So having that disclaimer will protect you that this is not your listing, this is not the property you sold, but this is the information that you pulled from other third-party sites.
But you said it's a little say one.
A disclaimer.
Right, what is the disclaimer that you,
What was the one you used?
you said?
Any and all information.
Any and all information is deemed reliable. The source of information is from the multiple listing service. I'll show you some examples.
Okay.
Like your flyers on the on command, I think already has that in the bottom part, a very small disclaimer. A lot of the stuff that you pull from the MLS will already says all the information is from the MLS.
Yeah,
Okay,
because if you want to do a market update, you want to, I mean, we didn't sell these homes, but we wanted to have a little bit.
Exactly. Right.
So, okay.
So remember, it cannot make it look, I just sold this property, much is free, okay? Because, you know, you're misleading the consumer, and then if the agent finds out, then, they'll file a complaint against you.
If they just listed in your area, but
Yeah,
per.
here are the properties that sold, in this area.
Per MLS.
Yeah, per MLS.
So I'm not claiming that it's marked.
Exactly.
Just redundant.
Absolutely. So you're reading my mind. The other avenue is calling the listing agent and asking for permission. Mr. and Mrs. Agent, I noticed that the property on 123 ABC, so congratulations. I'm starting my marketing and hitting the area. I have a listing coming soon, or this is the area that I want to focus. Is it okay if I use your information as part of my campaign and flyer? Oh, yeah, not a problem.
But
Go
not
ahead.
their name,
Huh?
but not their name.
Oh, no. Yeah. But they can, they can give you the blessings as well.
Right.
Yeah, and that's fine. If they give you the blessings, then even if someone else comes back and complains that, well, that's so-and-so's listing, yeah, but I got the blessings from the agent to market it and promote it in my campaign, and that's fine. Okay, cool. All right, so does the market benefit from the clients? Does the market put your clients at risk? Okay, so it really depends, right? How does the market put someone at risk, in my opinion, right? Let's say that, trying to think of a good scenario that we can use here, right? And when I think of potential risk, I'm thinking of the liability, right? If you know something and you do not disclose, and that buyer buys the property and then later finds out that you did not gather the right information or disclose, that buyer can come back and sue the agent and sue the seller. And that's where you can put your seller at risk, right? So part of the process of understanding, right, is, are you listening to everything and are you asking the questions too? I'm going to share an example of what transpired many years ago. One of our agents had a property in it was a half-acre property, but it was on a ravine and it was a canyon. And the seller had lived in the property for 20 plus years. Original owner bought it like in the early or mid 80s. And they were now ready to transition. Their daughters had left and started their lives. So they did not need this huge 4-bedroom, 3-bath home anymore. They wanted to downsize, but they also wanted to live near the coastal area. And they were looking at Sac Clemente. You guys know where Sac Clemente is at, over there in Orange County. As you're going down the 5 freeway, when it kind of turns and you start seeing the ocean, everything on that hill is Sac Clemente. So very beautiful homes, multi-million-dollar community. That's where they wanted to move in. Yes, it's part of Orange County. So part of the process, the agent was asking a lot of questions, right? And as part of the seller disclosures, the seller for many years used to hit golf balls in the back, because it was half-acre and it was a hill. There was no homes to the left, no homes to the right. And the furthest house was so far that even hitting it at 400 yards, it would not touch that house. So for 20 plus years, he would use the backyard as his range to hit the golf balls, right? And the seller didn't think anything of it. The agent brought it to my attention and said to me, I'm ready to list this property, and we were looking at all this disclosures, and he had mentioned about the seller doing and hitting these golf balls. And I said, You said throughout the years, there was a lot of golf balls that the owner hit, right? Yeah. Have you actually physically went and looked at the backyard? He goes, no, it's a jungle down there. It's like a ravine that goes down. There's a wash, and then eventually it goes up in the hill. But no, I didn't. I took the cellar, but there's, you know, literally thousands of golf balls. But that's what he said. I said, I think you need to disclose that. He goes, what do you mean? Why do I need to disclose golf balls in the backyard? I says, well, you know, the compliance hat and the broker hat comes into play, and I think, well, what if the buyer one evening happens to go down the ravine and steps on one of the golf balls, loses his balance, falls down, cracks his head, dies. And wife, you know, is now looking for her husband. It's like, where's my husband? Where's my husband? Following day, they find out that he passed away from unbalance of all these golf balls that were in the ravine. And the wife is like, to her surprise and shock, was that the seller never disclosed that there was thousands of golf balls, and that could have been probably the reason why he lost his balance and probably, you know, broke his neck. And any attorney will pick it up because it's reasonable doubt, right? I mean, we don't know what truly happened. He could have had a mass heart attack and died, but they're going to use whatever argument, right, to articulate their position to sue the seller, right? I mean, I'm just thinking crazy. Can that have happened? No. And ultimately, I said, you know what, disclose it. So he went back and spoke with the seller and said, hey, you know, part of the disclosure of the transfer, disclosure of the TDS and the SDQ, I think we need to disclose that there are thousands of golf balls that throughout the years you've been hitting and whacking back down. And he chuckles and laughs about it. Says, why do I need to do so? So then he explained it to his words why it's important. And ultimately, the seller did disclose that there was thousands of golf balls, which was a good thing. Because I'd rather overly disclose than under disclose, right? I'd rather be proactive in my engagement, because your number one job is to initiate the process, but more so to protect your client from any potential lawsuits. All right. Now, there's no secure way of protecting. If someone wants to sue, they're going to sue, right? But you want to do every element to protect, ask the right questions, and something like that may be very minimal, may be a huge thing in the future if that person does happen to accidentally hurt themselves or die from it, right? So disclose. So in my opinion, you know, learning your clientele, hearing your clientele, how do you protect the seller from risk like that, right? Because you never know. People do some foolish stuff, people do some crazy stuff. And if you don't, then they could come back to bite you. Make sense? All right. Take a grassroots approach, learn where your sphere gets information, and be present. So for me, it's obviously be present, right? In the engagement, right? Are you listening to your client? Okay. Are you eye contacting, smiling, you know, agreeing or disagreeing, right? Body language. Now, remember, when you go on a listing appointment, right? And you're controlling the narrative, right? You're controlling what you want, you know, and part of it is if it's a husband and wife, and now you're going to sit down to go over the numbers, right? The presentation, the cons, and obviously the net of what they'll make after all expenses, including your commission, right? Would you want yourself to sit in this position, right? Where you have the seller one here, seller two here, and you're right here. You have the wife and you have the husband. Is that a good way to sit down and present to your client, potential client? Why?
And you're creating two dialogues.
Yeah, you're
right?
creating a barrier.
Okay, so I am looking at both of them, right? But I'm doing this or this, right? No difference than me presenting when I'm talking to you, I'm looking at each and all of you, you know, throughout the presentation. But I'm losing control when I have them separated instead of right in front of me, okay? Because even though I have dialogue with both, right? When I'm talking to the husband, I don't know what their eye contact is. I don't know if she is saying no, yes, or vice versa when the husband is doing that. So what I need is to have them right in front of me, right? So I can see body language, expressions, eye contact, and anything that I can know if I need to accelerate or decelerate the conversation. Make sense? So when you go on a listing appointment, make sure that you control that and have them where you can see them simultaneously. Okay? Don't be in the middle, right? And have that person there and someone behind you. Okay, that would know you. You see where I'm going with this? Okay, where is the best place to have listing appointments in the house?
Kitchen,
Kitchen table, okay, where else?
living room.
Living room, okay, where else?
Maybe like a patio.
Patio, okay, where else?
That's all I would recommend.
I heard once in the bathroom.
What? You know.
I'm kidding.
Ew.
Best places to have consulting appointments is in the kitchen table, yes, and also in the living room, right? But make sure that, you know, you scope it out, because again, you want to have them where?
In front of
In
you.
front of you, absolutely. And if the living room configuration doesn't meet, then you adjust it and ask, is it okay if I adjust it where I can see both of you and talk to you? Or can we go to the kitchen table where it's more convenient, okay? You need to control that narrative. Make sense? Read past the headlines and know your numbers, okay? Obviously, when we talk about numbers, we talk about, you know, what is the data on the MLS show, right? How many active, how many under contract, how many pending, how many have sold in the last 90 days? Okay, why is that important? Why do you need to know how many active, how many under contract, how many pending, and how many sold in the last 90 days? Yes, sir.
To give your client an idea of your house may not sell tomorrow like it was 6 months ago. Your house now, the average house sitting on the market is 30 days, 45 days. You have to give them that expectation, because a lot of people will see the headlines like, you know, Junior William, oh my God, my house has been on there for a year. No, really it's not. It might be 30 days, but it's not going to be 365. It's the price, you know, those factors. Just so you give that information.
Right, okay, very good. What else?
Or know your research and market analysis, that you can, like you said, prove what's out there, be able to show them and help them meet expectations. Or taper their expectations.
Good, yeah. All of them are perfect valid. The reason you want to bring all of that up as part of your comparable market analysis is because you want to know exactly what the area is doing, right? What we call the vital signs, the pulse of the neighborhood. Because it'll tell you your answer. If a property's been on the market for 100 to 200 days, there's a reason for it, okay? If a property is pending within 30 days, there's a reason for that. If a property is under contract. 10 to 15, 25 days, there's a reason for that. And also, there's a reason why the property sold and what did it sell, how many days did it take to sell? All right. Your answers are in the data, folks. So providing this information gives you the upper advantage to explain to the consumer, the seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there is 5 properties that are currently on the market right now within your home. A mile radius of the subject property, okay? Most agents do 1 mile to half a mile radius from your home. And we look for active, pending, under contract, and sold. Here are 5 properties that are currently active, one for $1.2 million, one for $1.25 million, $1.100 million, and this one is in the market for 25 days. This one is 35 days. This one is 75 days. Here's 3 properties that are under contract. This one went under contract at this price of $1.075 million. This one at $1.050 million. This one at $1.125 million. This one at 30 days into. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here are 5 properties that have sold in the last 90 days, last 3 months. Okay, similar in square footage, similar in lot size, and then similar in year built. Okay, all of the homes in this little neighborhood were built in the 50s. Yours was built in 1958. This one was built in 1955. This one was built in 1957. This one was built in 1960. Okay. But look at the prices of what these homes sold to the prices that are currently active. Now, do you want to be active, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, or do you want to be sold and moved on to your next chapter of your life? Well, I want to be sold. Okay, so my goal here is to actively find a ready, willing, and able buyer, but we need to price the home correctly to get you where you need to be. So my opinion of where we need to start is this one. Okay. The answer is in your data. Because you don't want to be that agent that oversees all that, puts the property for $2 million and hopes and prays that you get an offer, right? It's not going to happen. You want to be in the area of competitiveness where your property is going to have the most eyes on it, right? What did I say earlier? We're not in the babysitting industry, right? We're in the industry of selling. And I want you to sell not just 1, not just 2, but multiple properties. Okay. Any ahas? Anything that resonated in the last hour or so? I know there was a couple of ahas earlier. Are you guys exhausted? A little tired, a little fatigued? I hear you. No worries. But we still got another hour or so. Okay. I know that the mind is going 100 miles. God, I'm dying here. I want to leave it. No, you're trapped. You're in. Okay. I promise you. The next hour, I will make it very entertaining. Okay, just kidding. All right, so utilize the resources. Use KW app to connect with your market. Okay. Has everyone downloaded their KW Command app to your phone?
Mhm.
How many have done so? Raise your hands.
We were supposed to do it by today.
Say that again.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was our.
How many have downloaded their KW Command to your phones?
I'm gonna do it right now.
Okay. Who says it?
I'm
Okay,
gonna do it right now.
thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
I mean, it's the funniest thing. Go ahead.
The customer side and the agent side.
There is, when you send them a link, it's gonna give them the consumer app, which is a lot different than the actual agents.
So what we download there, this is the engine.
This is your command, yeah, this is your baby. Your baby, okay? So if you have not downloaded the KW command to your iPhone or your, what's the other phone? Android, thank you.
Oh, no, he didn't.
The other one.
I did. Then I encourage you to please do so.
So it looks like I have the KW app, is that the same as KW?
It's not.
That's different.
Yeah, it's KW command.
I
Command your business.
I downloaded it, but I didn't put
What is what?
read it.
Oh. All right, so command your so your command is your end-to-end killer cloud platform for running and growing your business. Now, let me tell you about command, all right? Command, if done correctly, can definitely help you take your business to that next level, okay? Does it have glitches? Yes, it does. Does it have some problems? Yes, but I can tell you that all companies that have online platforms have glitches as well, all right? Now, the cool thing about this is a virtual assistant without paying for a virtual assistant, because it has all these elements that can prep you to become very efficient in your business, from your contacts to your smart plans, to your referrals, to your landing pages, to servicing your listings, to navigating opportunities. The list goes on and on and on and on. Now, I am not the most tech savvy person in this room, okay? And I do not want to be the most tech savvy person in the room, okay? That's where I leverage myself, right? And here's the thing, okay? And here's a $1 million question. When you become so good at what you do and close deals, you're going to leverage and you're going to hire someone to do this for you because you have the means and the capital to do so. Okay. So there's your $1 million question. Learn it, understand it, but eventually you can leverage this and let someone else handle it for you. You all with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Because what is your #1 job out there as a real estate professional? Okay, lead generation, okay. What else?
Get clients,
Say again?
get clients.
Yes. Go and get more clients, folks. Your job is to connect. Hi, I'm Simon. I'm a local expert. I'm a local real estate professional. Okay. My goal is to help you. What can I help you? You ready to buy? You ready to sell? You ready to invest? You ready to develop something? All right. Do not be afraid, ladies and gentlemen. All right. The more you get out of your comfort zone, the more you're going to make. Okay. If I was to walk out of this glass door and go out in the field, my goal is to connect, and find that buyer, that seller that's motivated to buy or sell. That's what you're doing. You're trying to find people that need your services. Don't expect people to come to you. They won't. I know you're good-looking people in this room, okay? But beauty doesn't have anything to do with it. It's knowledge, expertise in your line of work. That's what's going to generate the opportunities, right? I want you to be that top-notch agent in our office. I want you to be on the board. Who doesn't want to be on the board? I want you to be the top 20, top 30, top 5% of the agents in our office, okay? Or maybe Simon, I don't want to be the top. I just want to close a couple of deals. Okay, how do we get that? What do we need to do? What do we need to accomplish? What do we need to do right this minute to go after market share. How do I get those opportunities? Okay, work your tail off. Well, Simon, I don't want to work my tail off. Okay, then don't work your tail off, work. Well, Simon, I don't want to work. Okay, then don't work. Okay. I cannot force any of you to go out there and lead gen. I cannot force any of you to go out there and prospect. I cannot force you to go out and go to open houses and do open houses, right? I cannot force you to go out and do broker tours, right? I cannot force you to write offers and practice on, listing agreements and disclosures. I cannot force you to role play. I cannot force you to do any of it, right? I can only lean to you and allow you to do what you want. Okay? Yes, ma'am. I love you. I was pretty like rumbling, like what else do I ask? All right, team, go ahead and take a quick. I was giving you a moment of time. All right, we're almost done. We're at the final stretch, guys. Appreciate you. You guys are awesome. All right. And as an added incentive and benefit, if you guys are nice enough, I might let you out early too. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Just kidding. Let you out early.
Well, technically, it won't be early because you're gonna show us how to do the post office thing.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm gonna probably go through this really quick, and then I'm gonna show you the other fun stuff, okay?
Questions, Simon?
Do you mind if I steal one of these snacks?
Oh my God,
I'm hungry. So, thank you.
that's just so wrong of you.
But
Curiosity, if someone is looking for just office space, like an office begins an easy way to look, search that, it would be really just look together in the community and talk to people and find out if they have extra space.
you mean office space?
Yeah.
Or extra space? What do you mean?
They don't want office or- That they run. Out to them. How do you find stuff like that?
Well, a lot of the information you can do. It's what they, on the MLS called subleasing.
Okay.
Subleasing meaning I have this building, but I have offices that I can sublease.
Oh.
So there's opportunities on the MLS to create that criteria of sublease.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's not your email address. I can put it at gmail.com when it doesn't work.
But it's, maybe it's in my notes.
Maybe your email, I had it, you had it sent to you in your email.
It's part of your cloud stuff.
My password would be, my username and password.
Unless you actually changed it, I haven't figured out how to change it for names, so it's part of the.
They should change it for you.
If they don't make you change it, I changed it in certain areas, but command didn't allow me to change it for some reason.
I was trying to change it and I didn't figure out how to do it, so I'm still using the same one that we gave. Because it said when you log in, it'll let you do it, and I looked at, like, I think I couldn't find it.
They have.
Okay.
I called him, emailed him,
Tell Holland,
and then, no, Scotland, right?
Oh, Scotland.
And then he.
He'll help us change it.
Okay, yeah, cause I was like, they made it sound so simple and I never figured it out, so.
And where do you go to change it?
Did everyone sign and
I did.
okay, make sure you sign because I'm keeping track. Because at the end, you'll get a certificate.
Yeah.
Are you guys having a good time?
Yeah.
Or am I
for sure.
boring?
No, you're good.
When we graduated, bring in bottles of champagne for toast storage.
Yeah, I'm gonna shake it in.
You don't get to enjoy it, you might need to wear it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So Simon,
Yes.
I write, insurance. So I write sheriffs all the time.
You write sure.
Sheriffs.
Oh, you do? Very cool. I'm a little disappointed with the sheriff's department right now. They're not my friends.
Why, because of the past election?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah,
Were you in favor of,
yeah, Noel.
yes, you were?
Yeah,
Um,
I know. I liked him. And I remember when he was a sergeant working in East LA and my first opportunity meeting with him was, yeah, he was a hard-nosed, tough guy, very by the book, but you know, he did provide a lot of integrity, in my opinion, and the little that I knew of him at the time. But he was just trying to clean up the department, in my opinion. There was a lot of corruption. And I came in during the administration of, you guys remember Sherman Block?
yes.
Yeah, so I started with Sherman Block, and unfortunately in 1998, he passed away, and then Lee Baca came in. And then Lee Baca was, yeah, at the end, he was losing it too. There was just a lot of things that I was in disagreement, because when I ended up leaving the department, you know, it was under the administration of Lee Baca. But I remember my Villanueva's campaign in 2018, and he was at the Quiet Canyon in Montebello, and he was trying to promote it to all the realtors of the Hispanic Association. And he doesn't remember, I know he's just a young guy, but you know, it was good that he was running, because he was retired and came out of retirement to take on, you know, the role as the sheriff of the county, one of the largest counties. So I was disappointed when he lost.
What about you, Brian? You don't know about him?
I don't know much of the new sheriff. I just know that he came from Long Beach.
I know the guy that was running against him, Eric Strong, you know him?
Mhm. So I don't know. I'm a CCW carrier. I believe in my Second Amendment rights, but, and I'm not carrying. Hey, what's up, Al? So you're okay, but I'm trained. You're good, Simon. What's CCW? Yeah, so I'm going through the renewal process right now, and it's like, oh my gosh, I hope they don't change it. But I think I should be okay. But you just never know when there's
Yeah.
new leadership, they can change all of it. So we shall see. It's just a little concerned because it's taking a little longer for my process, which I've had it since I left the department, but still it worries
You have
me.
to update it every so often.
Every 4 years, I have to take training and pay the fee and submit the paperwork. But what's so funny is I have 4 CCWs. Yeah. I have 4. So I have a California CCW, I have an Arizona CCW, I have an none of that. Utah CCW, and I have a Florida CCW. You're saying, Simon, what the hell? You're not even from Florida. Or, I get it, but it reciprocates. Did I say that? Reciprocate. The meaning that because I have 4 CCW licenses, that means that I
able to carry a concealed weapon in 38 or 42 states.
I was gonna say, what's the purpose if you can't go from Arizona to,
That's why you can be a non-resident and be able to go to different states and carry a concealed weapon.
so you're carrying right now?
No, I'm not. No. But I can.
Good to know.
I got your back.
What if this happened if a guy walked into a restaurant on the news and he was trying to, he brought in all the patrons and another guy's. And shot him, remember that? I saw that too.
You can't shoot someone because they're robbing you.
But you know, this guy did it.
But he didn't, then he left before the cop got there.
Yeah.
And then the dude had the guy, the suspect, it was speaking of real gun.
It was with airsoft guns.
Yeah.
Wow,
He's dead
interesting.
now.
Yeah, that's not a means to shooting and shoot someone just because they're robbing you. You have to be in
Self-defense.
fear of your life, bodily injury in order for you to be able to pull it. But that's a different class. I'll teach a class about that. This conversation can go sideways.
Into looking like a.
Carrying a concealed,
Come across the good and the agent that all this open heart like he would carry.
as long as,
But he didn't have a license, but he said that since he was in a
Well-
home, then.
so here's the pros and cons to that. If you guys want me to go in this direction, I'll be more than happy to do so. Because I'm a big second amendment.
Yeah, I don't need to go on there.
So, but basically, here's how it works, okay? As a licensed CCW, right? That's one portion of it. The other portion is do you have insurance to cover you? Because what happens is as soon as you pull the gun, aim and shoot someone, even if the person survives, you're going to be charged. You're going to be arrested. It's up to the district attorney to determine if it was self-defense or not. With that being said, you also need to have insurance because it can be very expensive to hire an attorney to protect yourself. Because once they charge you, then it can go this way or that way. They can say, well, you know what, it's not probable cause, you know, it's a felony, you can be arrested and prosecuted. Okay, that's why it's far and few that people have the authority to carry a concealed weapon and have the license, especially in LA County. Notorious. They won't just say, here, you can have a CCW. You know, you have to have reasonable cause to carry. Have you been in a life-threatening situation? Do you have a restraining order? Are you a business owner? So there's pros and cons to that. And because you're all realtors, you have the ability to apply. Now, with that being said, remember, is this your house or someone else's house?
It's an open house.
Because if you are at someone else's house, right, and you pull out a gun and you shoot because your life is threatened and that person dies on the floor of the house, guess who's gonna go after you?
The seller, the homeowner, the homeowner.
No, the family of the deceased. And then that family of the deceased is gonna have the attorney look at, okay, who can we go after and sue? Well, we can sue the agent who was the person that shot and killed the husband or whoever. But we're also gonna sue the homeowner for allowing the agent to carry a weapon in the house that doesn't belong. So we're gonna go after the seller too, and that can happen. Now, here's my takeaway on that, okay? If you are allowed to carry a concealed weapon, right? And there's realtors that do have a license to carry. You see a lot of agents in the Riverside, San Bernardino, and Orange County because they're looser on their regulations, okay?
And it's perfectly fine, you know, as a Second Amendment, righteous owner, you have the right to bear arms to protect yourself because of all the craziness out there, right? But you also have to have care for it. You got to understand the elements of how that weapon works, right? How to disassemble it, how to, you know, make sure that, you know, you're checking it on a regular basis, that there is no magazine and one in the chamber. I mean, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but you got to also understand responsibility, right? And the responsibility falls on you if you do not know how to handle a gun. And not everyone should have a gun, right? And some people are in fear of guns, and some people don't believe in that right. Okay, and I'm perfectly fine, you know, whatever your rights and your decision, and that's fine. I respect that. I just believe in what I believe, right? But in this case, if you are licensed and hosting your listing or doing an open house, I would emphasize and encourage you that if it's your listing, that you let your homeowner know, because it's their home. And if they're going to be in a liability, they should be aware of what that decision, because then they can come back and sue you because you didn't tell them that you carried, and more so now there's a fatality in their house. Makes sense, because now they have to disclose when they sell their house. Hey, someone died in my house. But you see where this could go? Does that make sense? Yeah, so interesting. Any other questions? All right. Oh, we can talk hours on that. All right, so going really quick with get the KW app from the App Store, Google. Okay, everyone kind of knows this, right? All right, as part of your success system involves social media and other enrichments, right? So here it is. You know, how many have an account through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all that stuff? All of you should, right? And if you don't, I encourage you to really start getting into the trenches of social media. Why? Because a lot of the business that you can pick up is through social media. And let's say your consumers also have accounts, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. What is the other one now that the kids are using?
TikTok.
TikTok, right? Whatever they do, right?
I don't.
I don't either. That's why I'm doing this. But remember, the moms, the dads, the professions, they're also part of this. So you want to capitalize on this, because if you know they're on social media, you want to friend them and you want to start liking their posts, and more so like their posts. So part of the regimen that they're asking you is like 10 posts a day, write 5 written comments a day, and then send 1 direct message a day. Very simple. All right. How many times do you on social media and you see something that you like? All right. Someone has a new newborn baby. Someone is celebrating their anniversary. Like. Someone is going on a vacation. Like or love. Right. Stay in commitment that you will do 10 likes per day, 5 written comments. And what's a written comment? After you put like or love, or a thumbs up, right? Not a thumbs down, or not a ha-ha if it's something serious, but also something that, because people get warm and fuzzy, right? When there's likes, and I just can't believe how people get so crazy with this. How come they didn't like my post? You know, how come I was not added to that? But getting to know you, personal touch you, you know? Yeah, it is bonkers, but it's reality, folks. That's reality. All right, so any questions regarding this? All right, so study your market center reports, preview homes, take on MLS courses, visit and hold open houses, study the lore language of real estate. Everyone have a copy of their real estate millionaire book? Okay, if you don't have a copy, get one. Okay, get one. You can go to Amazon, I think buy one for $15. All right. Why? do you need the book is because Keller Williams believes in systems and models. Keller Williams believes that if you follow a system and you have a model, it will give you more of a perspective, conveyor belt approach in your business. You don't want to be all over the place, right? You want to have a consistent plan every single day, every single week, every single month, right? This is where your top performers, if you see them, they stay consistent in what they do because it works. That's how they generate the revenue and the income and the commissions and the opportunities, because they have a system in place. Make sense? Show up, do the necessary activities, learn the market and the data, learn your area, connect with people. I can promise you, you'll make a 6-figure income. Easy, breezy. Yes, ma'am.
The one on taking MLS course, I've been working with MLS for the last year just because I've been working with an agent, but there's still so much that I want to learn, like in the MLS. Is there one here?
An MLS class?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you jump on our KW Hub and go to our calendars, not all the time, but there's classes on the MLS. Now, who's your association?
What do you mean?
What-
Like the, well, something, right? Yeah, like, isn't it?
So if you go to the South Bay Association,
All different.
if you go to the South Bay Association of Realtors,
Okay.
they have their training in calendar. You can take their class. You can also go on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll just.
YouTube, like, it shows you a lot.
Okay.
And if you have the MLS, within the MLS, there's a resource area where you can also look at all the videos and trainings.
Cool.
Okay, any questions regarding this? Boom. All right, any ahas? You guys over it already?
One big.
All right, just a quick recap here. So obviously, we started with the benchmark of knowing the market, right? We talked about the type of market, yes? We talked about the inventory, yes? I want to make sure that I hit every bullet point because I don't want you to go back. But Simon didn't teach us this. I'm following the curriculum, okay? That's all I'm doing, but I want to make sure that I hit all the bullet points, yes?
Yeah.
'Cause I want to get an A++ in my grade. I'm kidding. You're not gonna tell on the team leader, are you? I see someone.
What's the word?
Hey, what is the word, Simon? Interest rates and lenders, economic factors, we talked about other market factors. Learn the market, you know, so from know your market to build your expertise, right? Be a good listener, learn your clients, listen to the individuals. And then what was that one? Keep the headlines in your content, right? All right, so ahas to achievements. So how has your thinking changed? What ideas or mindsets were new? What do you feel differently about what was meaningful today? How will your behaviors be different going forward? What actions will you take? What tools, models, or systems will you use? And how will that make you accountable? So real quick, I mean, how does it make you feel now in the way of thinking of some of the things that we talked about, right? For example, like you said, getting someone pre-approved was the thought that you need to be pre-approved when in essence you do not have it. It's talked about, but it's not really something that has to be done per se, right?
But we should do it.
Oh, yeah,
You know, we need to conversation.
absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Here's conversation. All right, so did it make you feel different today? And okay, just asking. Okay. Yes, I mean, it made me feel cold. It's cold in here. Or it's hot.
It just got over there.
I'm gonna wake you up.
First day was really tough, because it was like first day and
Yeah,
but then the second and third day are like,
Yeah,
Motivated.
Yeah.
absolutely. And guess
And I think
what?
we hit on some things that like Carlos did last time too.
Reinforcement, yeah.
Yeah, we have to. Because every instructor is gonna teach it different, right? Their style, their way of approaching. I'm a storyteller. I like to share stories because I think it's important to understand who your instructor is. Aside from being a team leader, aside from being a broker, I'm an instructor today. That's what I am. That's my hat for today. And I'm just giving you my personal life experience of what I've been through, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? Take it for what it is, value for what it is, you know, and the little things or the big things that you picked up, that's where you lean forward with, right? Because I want you to walk out of the training room prepared and armed with the right necessary tools and skill sets, right? Because at one point in your career, you may be up here teaching the future agents of our industry. Don't say no. I'm just saying, right? Any difference in the behavior of what today's training or topics are? No,
Now there was a command app.
you did not know?
No.
Okay,
I haven't been using the app, I've just been using the computer, so.
yeah. So there's a,
I'm sure there's some differences between what you.
oh, there's a lot of stuff. If I was to show you my phone, I mean, I have all these real estate apps too. I mean, that are part of and can be incorporated as part of your business, so.
I think there's any particular, like to get what's happening in the marketplace, is there any apps or particular news media outlets that you go to that are specific for real estate that really hone in on things that we need to know?
Absolutely. There's several apps that I highly recommend. If you guys want to write this down, I can share with you. All right, so one of them is obviously, do you have your DocuSign app on your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, I encourage you to put your DocuSign app on your phone. Do you have showing time on your phone?
No.
Showing time, download that app.
Is it connected to the MLS though?
It is,
We still need
but-
to look for it?
there's an app for it. Just in case you don't have your laptop or your tablet,
Okay.
you can, again, I'm just giving you my resources
Yeah.
that I have.
Which one is showing?
What is it? Or-
Yeah.
So showing time allows you to set appointments without literally calling the listing agent. Instead, you can go into showing time that is syndicated with the multiple listing service. And it allows you to schedule an appointment, send that request, and then get a response back, yay, nay, or not today. Okay, it's super easy. Like if you're doing multiple showings, you don't want to wait to call the listing agent. Showing time. Send them a request. You know about that?
No, I didn't.
It'll be it'll be like in the showing now.
I know, right? I'm gonna start music. So, you know, part of what you have of command also allows you to have, but here's another one that I encourage you to have. It's called MLS Touch. MLS Touch. Okay, that's another app. Now, title companies. And this is just my opinion, I'm not selling their app, but I love Fidelity Agent One. Fidelity Agent One. When you want to do quick, concise net sheets, breakdown of fees, rent versus buy. Oh my gosh, it's such an awesome app. And you pay $10 a year if you want the enhanced, which you can do flyers. Then I would encourage.
You said it does net sheets and what else?
It
Net sheets are great.
yeah, so I could tell you what it does. One in a moment. So for buyers, it does. Calculations. Okay, so the app allows you to do monthly affordability. The app allows you to do rent versus buy. The app allows you to do sale to net. The app helps you if they're looking to refinance. Simple calculations. You don't have to be a mathematician. Just plug in some numbers and it'll populate the numbers for you. The app allows you to also do multiple offer scenarios. The app allows, yes, sir.
All right, is it the same as? The Palm Agent one?
Yep.
Same company, right?
Yeah, it's the same. You know, most title companies have a Palm Agent, which is it's the version of it, but they just enhance by their brand, which is Fidelity. I just, because that's the one I've been using for years.
I was because they look identical on the App Store. I'm like, is it the same?
Yeah, but the one that you get from Fidelity or the title company, you can use it and it's free if you want the enhance where you can do like flyers, send a text flyer with the net proceeds, email it to yourself and have it part of your listing presentation. The app allows you to do extra payments, smart comparisons, loan balances, CD timelines, and then iBuyer comparisons, and then iBuyer multiple offers.
That's cool.
Yep.
Usually if you make a connection with a rep, then they will also be able to link you to other stuff that's available on their site or put you in connections with their.
Absolutely.
And aren't these things we can also get from our title rep?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Utilize them.
The other app that I recommend is the Legal Hotline app. Legal Hotline app. Okay. What's so cool about that app is through the California Association of Realtors. It you got to put in your username and password. But what's so cool about it is that it allows you to get some hot legal topics and address some of the current affairs regarding litigations, arbitrations, lawsuits, agents getting themselves in troubles, the do's and don'ts and all that stuff. So it's a great app that I use to when I don't have a laptop or my tablet with it.
What was the MLS Touch for? What was that one for?
So what the MLS Touch is, what I like about it is it connects with CRMLS. Okay, it allows you, this is what it looks like. Okay, I know it's kind of hard, but it's that one right here on the far bottom left. When you click on that, it takes you to MLS Touch. Now, KW Command also has something similar, okay? And utilize the KW Command one because that you can send to your clients. But this one is already connected similar to Command, but this one is more intuitive to CRMLS because it's the same creators. But here you can do maps, you can input like quick reference. If someone calls me and says, hey, Simon, I happen to come across this property. Tell me what the MLS number is. Go here, then you type in, oh yeah, I see this property is active. It's going for 700,000. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. So immediately, without opening up your laptop or your tablet, you can immediately do it super quick, super efficient, and fast.
Okay, because I've tried using the MLS like on my phone in
No.
an internet browser, and it's like,
No.
I'm like,
That's why you want this, because this one's super easy. That is like being on a computer. It's not gonna provide you, and it's so small.
Dude, it's so hard to do.
Yeah,
It's so hard to do.
exactly.
Okay, thank you.
All right. The other one that I recommend is the RPR app, which again is part of MLS, but you want to have it as an app.
RPR.
RPR.
stands for what?
It starts for resource property report, something like that. It's part of your MLS.
Uh-huh. And what information does that give?
That gives you property analysis, characteristics, who the owners are, and you can do some comps and comparables.
It also tracks you.
It also tracks you, yep.
No, but where you are, if you open it up, it tells you what's active, what's like low. Yeah, yeah.
What about prop stream?
Upstream, I don't know.
Oh, it's supposed to be like another like. I don't know, I guess like kind of like a user friendly type MLS app. You haven't heard of it?
Never, I haven't heard of that.
It came up in the maps training, so I was wondering.
Gotcha. All right, team, we got 25 minutes left, and I want to still, within this time frame, complete this and then go into the postal service stuff that I told you earlier.
Yeah.
So obviously, everyone should be aware of the consumer affair of do not call list, right? So if a number is registered on the do not call list, please do not call. I can share a war story with one of our agents here who ended up dialing the wrong number, and ultimately we ended up this guy was a professional, knew the ins and outs, and was threatened to escalate this. And if he wins, there's a possibility of $5,000 he can win because his phone number is registered. Okay, so if you don't know, please scrub. And if you're using a third-party company, most of them already have them scrubbed through their list. Okay.
Where do you go to check? I've never done it before, to check like numbers on, you know, call
There is a website, and I don't know on top of my head. Let me see.
In our, I think it was in our manual, yeah.
Yeah, I think you have a website on the manual website.
Beginning, right?
Yeah, it's like these
that's
2 or 30 or something.
Yeah.
We do have it, we have it.
Okay.
We have it.
There's a national Federal Trade Commission where report on when it calls, verify your registration, register your phone number, but that's registration. But where do you verify a phone number?
You have to subscribe to the DNC registry.
Yeah. Don't know. Okay. I engage every conversation in the spirit of a contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. Imagine if you use that as an embedded command every morning. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution. You know, again, to motivate you and all that stuff. So, that must be a Gary Keller thing. All right, so role playing, prepare your conversation list, and let's. Ooh, did I go?
I don't think that's what was that.
Update contacts, follow-ups, celebrate your success. Prepare for the next session, which is define your values. Okay, so let's role play a little bit. Okay, so we'll use at least 10 minutes to kind of role play, because I want to be in alignment to the curriculum, and in all fairness for you, because again, you invested the time to be here, and I don't want to go sideways. I want to be as concise to it, but obviously the presentation is over. So the importance of role playing, okay? So role playing is crucial, like practicing, right? And no athlete, such as a boxer, a football player, basketball player, soccer player, golf player, any type of sports, they don't just go out and play without what? Practice, right? So in essence, your job description even though it's real estate, also needs to embed role playing, scripts, and dialogue. Objection handlers, okay? It's not like you have to spend all day doing it. 10 or 15 minutes is all you need. 30 minutes, even better. More so amongst yourself. Devote, dedicate after you graduate or after the curriculum or the class, or before the class, team up with someone and let's go through a listing presentation. Let's go through a seller objection handler. Okay, I want you to write this, and I know I'm going to go off content, but I think I'm done with command. Are we all good?
Yeah.
All right. In all fairness, would you give me 100 points?
Absolutely.
Is that a yes?
101. We'll give you a good deal.
Okay, you're awesome. All right, I want you to write this down. Mike Ferry. Mike Ferry. Most probably know who Mike Ferry. All right. All right, so Mike Ferry is a real estate trainer. All right, so I grew up in real estate knowing Mike Ferry. All right, I didn't know Gary Keller, but I knew Mike Ferry, and to this day, I have photos with Mike Ferry. So what I want you to do is I want you to register to Mike Ferry's website. You're going to go to mikeferry.com. Okay, you're going to register. Then you're going to go to the resource because you get to download free scripts and business tools. All right. I want you to have this as part of your arsenal because remember, when you become comfortable and confident in the skills of knowing what to do, what to say, and handling objections, you're going to do fantastic. Okay. What I want you to do is, okay, for a small investment, okay, I want you to go to miscellaneous, go to products, miscellaneous, and I want you to get what's called the trigger cards. The trigger cards. It's a $20 investment. It's going to be shipped to your home address, or it can be shipped here. Make sure that it says your name, not Simon. These trigger cards are basically the entire listing presentation, where you can now, in front of you, practice. And the reason I am a true believer to this is because what did I tell you was one of my careers?
Please.
Law enforcement, right? Yeah. Okay, law enforcement. And when I was going through the academy, I had to learn penal code, vehicle codes, and radio codes. 10.1, 10.2, 10.8, 10.7, 10.31, 999, all these radio codes. I didn't know them all, so what did I have to create? I had to create a way to memorize radio calls. When you're on a radio call on your NBT computer, subject 227 or 998. Okay, and these are all codes that relate to something, right? Radio codes is an example. Now, the reason I bring this is because in my training in the academy, we used to have 3x5 cards, and we would go 10-1. We would flip it. What is 10-1? Ah, that's what it means. 10-8. Flip it. Ah, that's what 10-8. And I would keep them in my briefcase because that's how I started learning how to speak the lingo, right? Well, the trigger cards are similar to that, okay? This is the only place that I know that has these trigger cards. Prospecting in person or on the phone. Effectively follow up, making a listing presentation, handling objections, and more. Okay, it's tangible. It's this big, and you can practice role playing, practice with yourself, practice with someone else. It's a $20 investment, but it can go a long way. Yes, ma'am.
I saw there's like a downloaded version for $10.
Yeah, they have downloaded.
If you want to go with a downloaded, even better, you're saving yourself. For me, I like the tangible, touchy feeling. You could if you want to, but for me, what I did with my old, I got them. I went to Office Depot and had them laminated, and then they're good for years and years to have. I just rather, instead of being on a computer, have them where I can, role play, or be with another partner and role play. Whatever works best for you is perfectly fine. If you want to do the $10, I'm gonna do the
You
$10.
know what, I've done this before and I put mine on, I got a big ring.
Yeah,
And so I put them on a ring.
absolutely.
When I say come play this, let me go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.